Good morning, everybody. Good morning. Welcome to your pre-Friday edition of Hoop Spaces. That's right. It's Thursday. We're almost there to the weekend. I am almost there to a vacation of sorts. I don't take vacations. Check it out. Breaking news with Brittney Griner. We'll be talking about that today, this morning. A substantial offer had been made. We'll give you an update and a breakdown and hear your thoughts. The WNBA kicks off today with 4 games coming off of a successful Commissioner's Cup. We got that to look forward to. Draymond Green wants a max extension. I want to hear your thoughts on that. And I think the Lakers need more small forwards. I don't think they have enough. We got that and more coming up today on Hoop Spaces. Thanks to everybody who comes in and makes this a part of their day. We appreciate it. I'll be back in about 40 seconds. Good morning. All right, good morning. Today, we asked the question, is Brittney Griner closer to being back here home on American soil? We'll give you that update. We've got some Lakers talk, some Draymond Green talk in as well. I want to hear your thoughts, if you have any, on the W or the NBA. It's going to be a short show, I think. Not a lot of news as we're entering the abyss. We've entered it this week. Today's like day whatever, on the scale of waiting for the NBA to come back. And a lot of people who are football fans are happy because training camp is either starting or getting ready to start. So there's more football coverage than basketball. I hope all of you are having a great day. And I hope that you're ready to come up and have a good convo. Let me finish this tweet. Now, that's the question today. Is Brittney Griner closer to coming home? It's always a great day to talk ball. It's also a great day to be a good human being, and I think that's the conversation that we're going to have today when we're talking about this. It's a complicated subject because it deals with geopolitics and it deals with the country whom our relations historically have always been adversarial. But Brittney Griner has been requested in a prisoner exchange, as well as Paul Whelan, for Victor Bout, who is a international arms dealer and smuggler who was caught in a sting by the United States government and is serving a 25-year sentence. This is a deal that the United States government, the State Department, actually proffered to Russia based upon numerous conversations with the Russians, and they thought that this would be something that would get the ball moving. The issue is that there still has yet to be any substantive response with the Russian, basically their version of the press secretary, Kremlin spokesperson Dmitry Peskov, confirmed that they did receive it. However, so far, there is no agreement on this issue. I know this is going to be frustrating for a lot of people because you're going to start hearing and seeing and watching these news reports saying that the government is offering exactly what the Russians want. But you have to understand and listen to when the State Department says that these types of negotiations are often protracted and difficult. I do want to hear what your thoughts are. I will give you a brief update in regards to what has happened. Other than that, there's very little that, unfortunately, there is very little that we can do besides spreading, positive awareness and actual fact as opposed to supposition. So thank you for the levity. I see Dany D is up here this morning. Track, what's up? It's good to see you. Mark, Jose, 30 and Dubs, Maliika, I hope you're doing well. Santa Rosa. Hopefully we have a good show. All right, we'll go to Dany D first. Dany D, good morning. How you doing?
Yeah, hey, good morning, Chris. I hope everyone is doing well this fine Thursday. I'm doing well myself. Um, I'm not shocked about the U.S. offering the trade. Uh, Obviously, at this point, we're still on Russia time, as I always like to say, because they're going to continue to go through their judicial process. It's going to be slow burning. She's not going to be here next month or next week or anything like that. Like I said, we may go all the way up to October. It depends on how fast the Russians want to move. They're still going to make this go through their Russian judicial process because by their laws, she broke the law on their end. We're not going to go by based off our judicial system, and we just going to have to be patient at this time. Um, I think at this point, and I hate to be, I don't know, Debbie Downer about it, but I think at this point, I think we might, as Americans, might need to just keep our mouth shut for a moment, because to the Russians, no matter how much we may disagree with them on their policies and the things that they do on their end, it is their country, and you have to respect their judicial system and what they want to do. And it's fine to say free BG, but y'all gonna have to might have to calm down on that, because you might be irritating them more, and that's why they could be dragging their feet on this on their end too. Um, I'm one of the people who say don't poke the bear, and I think we keep on poking the bear on our end, because you believe me, they know what's going on over here. They watch our news, they watch our social media, and the more we poke them, the more they be like, well, we're just gonna drag our feet, just like dragging your child out of a toy store. That's what they're gonna end up doing. So I pray for her safe return. I pray for all hostages, or not hostages. Let me change that, because they might be listening for all I know. I pray for everybody safe return who are Americans, and just be mindful what you do before you go overseas to somebody else's country, because they do not play fair.
All right, we'll go to Faction next. Faction, good morning. How you doing?
Man, what's going on? What's going on, everybody? I just woke up. It's 5 o'clock in Qatar right now.
Yeah, I've been there.
Man, listen here. These
What's
international,
up?
what's going on, man? These international laws, man. I see the tweets. I see people talking. Hey, we got to understand. It's not our country. It's not our government. It's not our laws. It's not how they structure themselves. It's not how they do things. I can think of a time where we have went over there and got somebody that wasn't already imprisoned and enslaved and malnourished half to death. Like even the guy when I was in South Korea, that was in North Korea, when he went over there and took the paint off the wall. You know, these people are strict and they don't care. Then at this time, especially during a war that's going on, Russia has probably all the leverage. You know, the people isn't gonna help her come back. It's gonna take an act of something else. Either we're gonna have to bag or take money out of Ukraine. Or the only way she's gonna come back anytime soon. That's just logically thinking, as opposed to what's going on in the news and what's going on around us. Me thinking she's gonna come back, probably will after she's sentenced, after she's sitting there a couple of years, then they'll do something to bring her back. But we just can't go over there, or we don't have any special wand that's gonna make her come back. Yeah, it's not possible, not right now.
Yeah, let me give a primer on how we got here. Brittney Griner, 7-time WNBA All Star. She's the Defensive Player of the Year twice. Pled guilty, and which is the latest development, which is why we're here at this trial. She had been detained and in Russian custody since February after she was stopped at Sheremetyevo's international airport by Russian federal customs officials. They claimed that they had found vaporage cartridges containing hashish marijuana concentrate, which is harshly illegal in their law. She was on trial for, or she was going to be on trial for large-scale transportation of drugs, which is trafficking and an offense that can carry a sentence of up to 10 years behind bars, which is what led her to pleading guilty, so that it could show, at least in public, by their standards, the beginning parts of attrition, where she admitted to bringing it in. She gave her explanation and rationale wise as to why. Um, and then now, yesterday, we found out via CNN that the United States had offered an exchange of Russian arms trafficker Victor Bout as part of a deal that would release Brittney Griner and Paul Whelan, who's been over there for a while. That same day, Anthony Blinken, who was our Secretary of State, stated publicly that they had given a substantial proposal on the table, but he wouldn't confirm whom they were giving up. And then basically today, out of the State Department via various spokespeople, Russia hasn't really said anything. And this is to the point of, quote, dragging their feet. We have to understand that the longer this goes on, the more the Russians are attempting to extract as part of this exchange from the U.S. government. How long will it take? We don't know, because usually the State Department doesn't proffer such a major offer. And if they are proffering a major offer, one would have to think that they've been told by their intelligence gathering arms that this would probably be the best course of action. Now, all of that in part is supposition, because nobody in here works for the State Department, and we don't have any firsthand knowledge. All we can take into account is what is in the news, and that's what we're doing here. So if you do want to come up because you do have a question, or if you do want to share your thoughts, this is definitely a safe space in order to do so. There's no judgment here. If you have a question, we will try our best to give you a substantive answer, or at least get you to like the right resource. All right. Other than that, like, there's really not much to talk about in regards to Brittney Griner's situation. I can't give you a time when she will be back, but I do think that because there is this offer, it is now sooner rather than
Yo,
later.
Chris, I need your opinion on something real quick, brother. I need your opinion, fam.
What is it,
All right,
man?
look. So me and this girl been talking for like 3 weeks, right?
Not the
Chris,
time,
I
man.
need your opinion, bro. Chris, just this time, bro. Come on, fam.
Is not the time,
Chris, bro, Chris, come on. You my big brother, bro. Come on, bro.
In a tweet.
Chris, come, man.
Read the room. Thanks. Yeah. All right. Appreciate that. But that was some levity for you right there. All right. Tonight, 4 games for the WNBA, kicking off the second half of their season, which is really weird. It's like they get 2 All-Star breaks after the Commissioner's Cup, where the Aces win. Today, 7 p.m., you have Storm at the Sun in Connecticut. Minnesota Lynx visit Atlanta to face the Dream. 8 o'clock, the Washington Mystics face the Dallas Wings. And at 10, you get the LA Sparks playing the Phoenix Mercury. It's going to be interesting to see how the Sparks respond after the contract divorce with Liz Cambage. If you have anything you want to add in, Danny, about tonight, what are you looking forward to? Let's go ahead and get that now. And if you guys want to come up and talk some of this W, let us know. Go ahead, Danny.
Oh, you know what? Can we stop using the word contract divorce? I don't know who came up with that damn term. It's a buyout. It's a buyout. That's all it is. The same thing like all the men's sports. It's a buyout, y'all. That's what it really is. I don't know. I guess because they're females. I guess they're trying to say just be cute and sexy. No, I'm offended by that. But not you, Chris. I'm just saying I'm offended by whoever came up with that term. They need to be beat for that. I'm looking forward to the Minnesota Dream game tonight because they're all battling to get into the playoffs. The Mystics and the Wings, which I'm probably gonna be blacked out from seeing this game. So I don't even have CBS Sports Network, so I'll probably just no, I can't watch CBS Network. I might be able to watch it, but in a different. I don't have CBS Network, but I can probably get to it. We'll see. The Sparks and the Mercury, that should be a real interesting one. Because they're both trying to get to the playoffs, so this is gonna be interesting. But yeah, I'm probably looking forward to. I know I skip over Seattle and Connecticut. Um,
Why? Like, is it because they are who they are? The Jazz
they they are who they are. They go as far as Brianna Stewart can take them because it ain't for all y'all who love Bird, Sue Bird. Sue Bird should have been retired, defeathered, buttered up, and put in the oven a long time ago. And I'm talking about 2-3 years ago because she's been slowing down. She's so anyway. It is. That's just a boring game. That's just a white bread game for me. So you can keep that off the board for me. But yeah, the Atlanta Dream Minnesota game that should be really good because Minnesota's getting on a good little vibe with them. And the Wings in Dallas, that should be interesting. I got to see Deladon playing that game because that determines if they win. Um, and it also depends on how many shots Enrique take. And the Sparks, I want to see what they look like after the quote unquote buyout here. I'm really interested. So those are the games I'm looking forward to. So.
I do want to give some somber news in the W. Thoughts and well wishes to Bria Hartley out for the remainder of the season with a torn ACL. It's just it sucks. Like she gets there, she ends up signing a rest of the year contract, and like that's a great positive story. And then just a rough way to go. So make
Was
sure.
it the same leg? Was it the same knee?
I think so too.
Yeah. Oh God,
Um,
bad
so,
for her.
yeah, man. So do I. Anas, what's up, man? How you doing?
I'm doing well. It's been a minute. Hope y'all doing well.
Yeah, we're doing.
I want to ask because you brought up earlier about the Liz Cambage situation. Like, was that something? I just want to ask. Was that something that you could have seen uh in advance, or is this sort of sudden? And what's next for her? Like, is someone gonna pick her up and she's gonna join a different team now, or I don't know. Just asking about that situation, if anyone could give in on that.
Well, I think there's plenty of people who had thought that since the Olympic fiasco that this was a downward spiral to impending doom, and they seem to have been right in regards to her getting to another team. I believe the way that the buyout was created is that the Sparks still technically own her rights. I see DA's down there below. I believe he covered it in the 9450 Women's Basketball podcast. So check that out. He'll go more in detail in regards to picking her up. I actually asked that question and put it in a poll. I happen to think she's played her last game in the W. I just don't see a team that wants to take the risk of either alienating a player on that team or creating an unstable locker room, right? Like Indiana's not going to pick her up because they want to get positive vets around these young rookies. Um, I don't see the Aces picking her up because they've been there, done that. Dallas wasn't a good fit, quote, right? So where exactly would she go? Would Washington be willing to take a gamble because they think they need somebody of that, stature to make them a championship? Like I don't think so. They happen to look good with EDD out there if she's healthy. So I think she's done personally, and I say that as somebody who looks like, hey, if I was a director of player personnel in the front office, I'm already telling my owner no. Just because my ethos and philosophy of how I construct the team just wouldn't even allow it. So that's just me. So I'm slightly biased to that. I'll fully admit that, but I think more front office staff and personnel err on that side as opposed to not. So I think she's done. Anybody else want to add their thoughts?
She's done. She's done. Nobody want to put up with that foolishness. If you go to the Yahoo article by Chris Haynes, he goes through a litany of stuff that has gone on through the season since May, and I look at it this way: she's been through 3 different teams, in her short WNBA career. I call it short, but that's just me. In her short WNBA career, and at some point, first team, I give you a pass. Second team, I'm looking at you like, okay, girl, what's going on? Now we're on your third team, and you still can't make a full season, or you not full season, but you just can't make it there with this team. Then it's you. It's you. It's you the problem. She can say mental health all she wants, but some people just who they are, and no amount of medicine or psychological evaluation can help you. She is done. Nobody not gonna put up with her mess. She might as well go and stick to DJing and modeling. Maybe she'll be on America's Next Top Model. I don't know. Maybe she need to go to somebody's rave and DJ. But nobody got time to pull up with her foolishness. She's done. That's all I got to say about her. Unless somebody else wants to say something nice.
She has a chance because she offers a skill that is natural, that size, and you cannot teach size. Doesn't matter what sport you play. So perhaps after a year, maybe she comes back through a attritional, apology campaign, and maybe she gets a 1-year minimum. But that's still having to take a year off and still prove to the league that you're a viable investment. Because essentially at that point, that's what it is. You'd be taking away a roster spot. And if you see the talent out there with the amount of young, good players that aren't getting minutes, like you're taking away the investment of the young player and then trying to invest in a dream. Let's see. I want to give some shout outs down below. Shout out to Jannelle, ladies and gentlemen, Jannelle Moore of the Mercury News. Check it out. She does all NBA. She does football as well. With the NFL getting ready to kick off, you need a Bay Area, mindset. Make sure you shoot her a follow and check it out when she has time to do spaces. She's dope. Saint from Nets Kingdom is in the building, getting ready for another run for Brooklyn supremacy, at least in social media. Check them out on YouTube with Nets Kingdom AJ. TJ Kiesel's in the building. Talks with TJ is the space. It's a good adulting space. Like adulting sucks as enough as it is, but she does a great job of being honest and motivating. Make sure you shoot her a follow. Also, if you're into sneakers, if you're a sneakerhead, check out the Kickback Friday nights. You won't be disappointed. Jazzaray was in here earlier. That's another dope person you should follow. Shout out to the Mav 77 crew. Rolo and Rico Suave, they're next to each other. Justin Padden, you can check him out at JP Franchise over on YouTube. And our girl, Reese Rebel 31, Nat, host
Big
So You
Dad.
Think You're a G. And also getting ready to bring up bench warmers, ladies and gentlemen. Getting ready to come to a space near you so you can come up here and get your first take on. All right. Look, she's already given me an update. I absolutely love it. All right. Liz Cambage is one way to look at it. I had another question that I wanted to ask, and it's controversial to some. I no longer believe Ryan Howard is the front runner for Rookie of the Year. I believe there is a player for the Indiana Fever, despite only winning 5 games, that deserves it. Ladies and gentlemen, that is correct. I am talking about Alyssa Howard. I just don't. The production to me has just overridden the meteoric rise of Ryan Howard. I want to hear what y'all thoughts about NaLyssa Smith.
Ooh, you choosing violence today for the Ryan Howard crew. Oh, okay. I agree with. You know what? I can see your point there. I'm on the Austin train. That's just me. I'm on the Shakira Austin train, but hey, I wouldn't be surprised. I mean, I really wouldn't be surprised if she was picked. I mean, she's been doing good in Indiana. Just their records suck, and you rarely see them on TV. On my end, unless you got the league pass, or unless they're playing somebody major. Ooh, I gotta sit with this one, Chris. Okay.
Look, I love what I've seen from Ryan Howard. Like I fully admit I have not watched every game like some, but when I've been able to catch up now on Fever games because they're recorded and then they're not blocked out after a certain time. I don't understand why Melissa's not leading. Like 14-8, better percentages. Like, help me out, Da. You popped up when I asked this question. What is your thoughts?
My thoughts is why are we not considering another player that's leading a top 5 team defensively that's a rookie, and Shakira Austin, if anything, you know what I mean? Team is going to the playoffs, obviously. Ryan Howard team is in the mix of the playoffs. I think that Shakira Austin deserves definitely, some love as far as like some rookie of the year stuff. Now, her numbers is not like that, but her impact defensively is. And then when she plays minutes, and it's actually NaLyssa Smith, Chris, by the way.
Yeah, NaLyssa Smith.
You said how? I was like, huh?
Yeah.
I was like, okay. Now you good. But yeah, I think Shakira Austin's impact defensively is big. You know what I mean? She's when she plays over 30 minutes, she's actually averaging like NaLyssa Smith numbers. You know what I mean? She was have some pretty big games when she's playing. We always question why she's not playing more. So I think that she definitely deserves like to be in the conversation. As far as NaLyssa Smith, yeah, I mean she has she is a point and a half lower than Ryan Howard as far as points per game. She has doubled the rebound average. She has 8 double-doubles or whatever. Ryan Howard has nothing. Yeah, I agree. But the thing is, it's just the wins, man. Like normally Rookie of the Year races don't really matter as far as like wins go or whatever. They just, it's just like the best rookie. But I just think that in this situation, I just think that with Indiana only having 5 wins and Ryan Howard directly impacting, Atlanta's winning, I think that is just like it's going to be hard to, consider, NaLyssa Smith as a Rookie of the Year. But I also said this on a preseason podcast that that NaLyssa Smith has the highest upside out of all the rookies in this class. I really think that in 5 years, it'll be known that she's the best player that came from this draft. So I understand, I mean, I would want her to be Rookie of the Year, but I just think that just the 5 wins is going to hurt her and everything. But she's just as deserving as Ryan Howard.
All right, cool. Yeah, I like that. You have a great argument with Shakira Austin when you're talking about per minute production, and it's not her fault that she's used in a specific way that detracts from actually producing stats on a regular per game basis. Nobody else though, right? Like we're capping it at this 3.
Yeah. You have to. There's no dark horse, anything like that. It's just really that 3. That's all it was. And it's funny because I had Destiny Henderson as my dark horse, and then she came out, but I don't know why Coach ain't playing her, man. I got to speak to Knox, man. That's my guy. I gotta hit him up and be like, what's going on, man?
Because we're all asking the same question. They got 5 wins. Like, why is she only getting like 13 minutes every other game?
Yeah. You got to play her at this point right now. just like what they do in the NBA, sometimes you might just have to sit your main players. Get ready for jockeying for your position in the draft next year. Since I got ties in Indianapolis, I would love to, come to some FIBA games and see a little Boston and Indianapolis FIBA uniform. You know what I mean? So
That's
I
probably
think, yeah, it's possible. It's possible. It's definitely possible. But yeah, they might as well just. It's like 9 games left. Play the rookies, let them grow. They have a big they have a bright future with those rookies they got, especially Emily Inkster, man. Like, once she get her offense and it catches up to her defense, I think Emily's gonna be really good too as well. So they're on the right path. We like every time we talk about the Fever, we don't even care about their record, honestly. We know it's a rebuilding season. We just want to see progress, what I mean, from the young players and everything, So really looking forward to seeing what they got, going on for the future. But yeah, as far as like rookie of the year, I love Melissa's game. I really do. I really, really do. Top 5 as a rookie in rebounding. But yeah, it's gonna be hard. It's gonna be hard to give her the rookie of the year. I will be surprised.
Yeah,
I would be surprised.
I would be too, because I think with the way that the league also wants to promote players, they want to promote a winning narrative, right? It's good optics, and I think that's the hard truth too. So you're probably right. Maybe Shakira Austin might be the only one who could challenge Ryan Howard. So I appreciate it. Your next episode you drop is when?
I just dropped the episode today. Actually, we had Erica McCall last night on the podcast. Pretty good show. We switched it up a little bit. We talked more about her podcast journey as well as basketball too as well. I love podcasting. I got mad podcasts, so we really just got into that and talked about her journey, her process, and how she do her thing like that. Then we didn't really talk about that she's the sister of DeWanna Bonner and everything, because just try to keep that out of there. But we mentioned it at the end a little bit, but it was a really good show. I streamed it through my Zoom podcast P4 on Twitter Spaces, so we had a nice little people in there that was listening. We had a question and answer session where me and Kata and Erica was on Zoom, fed it through, and everybody was able to ask her questions and everything. So it was a pretty good show. We're going to be doing that more. We're going to be hosting a lot more spaces. Halftime of pretty much all the games. We're going to be doing little quick halftime spaces and everything. So we trying to grow and everything. But the show was good, and just keep coming through, supporting, and thank you for letting me promote it, bro.
Yeah. What's up, young Kratos is in the building. How you doing?
I'm just kind of curious, why this. And again, I think Melissa Smith has been balling, but the narrative of oh, we gotta look out for her. She's been hooping. She's on it, but the Dream were literally, they got the #1 pick for a reason. They were dumb. No one knew what was going on. It was a chaotic situation. They pretty much brought in a whole new team this year, and now they're in the playoff race. So kind of going from worst to middle of first, that's a kind of big jump that Ryan, not just Ryan Parker's been balling, other players, but we can't overlook winning and production in that situation. The Shakira Austin thing, they're winning, but and that's not her fault, but because she's on her team is pretty stacked, especially when EDD plays and Tiana Hawkins and all that stuff. So I think Ryan has kind of the both, where their team has success. They're in a playoff race. They win a few more games, they'll be in the playoffs. And she's producing in that way where you don't have to be well, if you extrapolate her minutes or if you do like that. So that's why I think she's the front runner. And again, this is not knocking the, but I think winning does have to play a part in it too when you're a rookie, because I think it's the same Carmelo LeBron argument back in the day where Carmelo took his team to the playoffs and all that. So I think that does be a part of it. We can't just overlook that because Indiana's bad. They stink. Atlanta also stunk last year too. So that's all I'm gonna say.
All right, appreciate it, man. I think that's the common theme or common thought is production and winning lead to a higher narrative to push. Yeah, to push them for MVP, and that's through all sports, right? I think there's only been a handful of MVPs from losing teams, right? Jerry West is the only person who won the Finals MVP that lost. Even though, like, if you want to be honest, there's some losses LeBron had that he probably could have won. So that's a good point. Track, your thoughts. Come on in here, and then I see Damo's in the building if he wants to come on up to talk a little bit about the Brittney Griner thing from his perspective. He's more than welcome to. Track, your thoughts on the Rookie of the Year after young Kratos. He just bounced out. Go ahead, Track. What you got?
Basically everything y'all saying is it's about a narrative, it's about production, it's about what looks good on paper. What looks good on paper, like right now, is Ryan Howard. What's marketable for the future right now is Ryan Howard coming from Kentucky, doing almost the same thing she did there as, you know what I'm saying, in the pro light. She's gonna get Rookie of the Year. She's gonna get a lot of things after that if they can keep it up. I mean, I'm just looking at it as just case by case, like basic stuff, like the same stuff you see in the NBA, you see over here too. I don't even think it's gonna be a full on like race like people saying. I think she gonna win it by a landslide and keep producing after that.
All right. I can see that. I kind of agree. I just wish that we viewed it differently.
And
Malik.
I'm biased when it comes to Kentucky.
Oh, you're biased when it comes to Kentucky. Nah, you wouldn't be the first. Maliika Walker, host of The Rewind, ladies and gentlemen, also part of the Hoops vs. WNBA coverage. Maliika, how you doing?
I'm okay. Hanging in there. It's hot as hell, so my loud air conditioner's in the background. But this is the Rookie of the Year conversation.
Yeah. So I hate the fact that we can't get an equal status for Alyssa after watching a couple of games on replays. I just think that production wise and what she's offered, she is the Rookie of the Year. It's just that she's on a team with 5 wins.
I mean, I also think Shakira Austin. I think that there were some outstanding rookies in this class, but Ryan has Ryan has she has the narrative. And we know how these things go also. Like, I think Ryan Howard's playing well. Like, she had up and downs this season, but her being the rookie that got to play in an all-star game, and with Shakira has been a dog most of the season. Like, if you're going to talk about Melissa, you might as well talk about also Shakira Austin. Because I think that there's a three-way battle for that, but not really when you look at the narrative behind Ryan Howard, who I think should win. They listen Smith. I don't, with that record for Indiana, it shouldn't matter, but it does to these voters. I think Shakira is the one that has, is really, in battle with her, but I still think it's going to come out to be Ryan Howard.
All right. Dang, Domo either got a phone call or glitched out. Was hoping he'd be able to give his thoughts on Brittney Griner after being a little bit more connected. Young Kratos,
Well, I just want
what's
to say
up,
one
man?
thing real quick
back?
too about narratives, because like I think the thing that I don't know if everyone remembers or kind of forgot, but like the narrative behind Ryan Howard all through her pretty much junior, senior year and leading to the draft was that she didn't have a high motor. She only plays when she wants to. Like, she doesn't have all that. So, like, we can't just say the narrative has been behind Ryan this whole time when there was a lot of notable journalists, a lot of talk, a lot of chatter about how her motor wasn't there and she wouldn't be this in the W because she didn't have the motor, she didn't have the drive, she didn't have the 1-2. So, like, we can't just say like the narrative has been pushing Ryan this whole time. Like when they saw her hoop, they're like, oh, okay, like it's not different. But a lot of people were also saying when she gets to the pro, it's gonna be different. She still hoop. She got that dog in her, all that stuff too. So I don't. I do kind of want to push back on just like the narrative behind her the whole time because she had to come to the league and prove that. Because there are people saying that she shouldn't be the number one draft pick, people saying she should drop to 5 and 4 and all kinds of stuff like that. So it hasn't been behind her this whole time.
All right. Anybody else want to add anything in regards to this? Hopefully Don was able to pop back in. I'm getting ready to move over to the Draymond Green discussion about whether or not he's going to get a 4-year max. I would give it to him. I don't know if a lot of people would. I would. I think he's worth
You
it.
said you would give it to him?
Yep, I would.
Without hesitation. Like without hesitation. But the
Clickbait.
question is, would you? No, it's not. It's not clickbait at all.
I think he's deserving of it. It's not a. I'm sorry to cut you off, Chris, real quick. It's not basically as far as like production standpoint. I think that some loyalty got to be involved, and obviously when he is on the court, they do produce. Do they win these championships without Draymond Green there? You know what I'm saying? I would say no. You know what Draymond Green brings: playmaking, defense, just being a release valve to make that extra pass. It's the things. He's like the most invaluable player of all time. You know what I'm saying? Like him and Dennis Rodman. The things that they do that doesn't
Rasheed
put
Wallace.
points on Rasheed Wallace. Who said that? Listen, give me the number to your weed dealer because I need to make some money off him. Okay, you tripping? Rasheed, no. I don't know why people bring Rasheed Wallace up, man.
Better argument for this type of convo than Rasheed.
Yeah, I'm not talking about nobody that has post game and won't use it. I don't like that. But what Draymond does, man, like he leads to winning and he leads to championships and stuff of what he do. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, I would give him the money. Now I don't know about 4 years. Well, I will definitely give him a max contract, maybe 2, maybe 3, 2 in a player option or whatever. But he definitely deserves a max deal. He really do.
Oh, yeah, we'll get into that. I don't understand why people like. I don't know. I don't understand. People are different, man.
Well, no, it's the number. This is okay. I don't have a problem giving him a deal. Give rocks. No, I'll give him maybe 100 to 120. And maybe like you said, a player option somewhere in there, but not a full like 140. That's just me. I like to
They
save
ain't
money.
got no money.
They got money. They just got to go over the tax. They got the money. They just going to pay over the tax.
Damo's with us. We want to wrap up this W and Brittney Griner talk first. I could see y'all are ready to go to war over Draymond Green. I tell you, man, nobody is having a better offseason than Draymond Green. I'm kind of jealous. I'm not lying. Damo, good morning. Thank you for being able to make some time. People might not know what you do. I'm grateful for what you've done. And you have a different view of how the Brittney Griner situation has developed and played out. And we're here and ready to listen to your thoughts.
I appreciate the flowers. Sorry it took me a second. Twitter doesn't like me today. Yeah, no, I mean, listen, I think that I think the news yesterday was, I'll be candid, I think slightly surprising. Actually, let me first say this, right? I think a lot of people will try to make jokes and be idiots and break a international prisoner exchange, because that's what this is. This is a prisoner exchange. Brittney Griner is a political prisoner of war. I think that there's some people who try to break down an international prisoner exchange like it is a trade deadline NBA deal. And look, and listen, I'm a guy who likes humor. I get my jokes off with the best of them. And I would be lying if I didn't giggle at least once or twice. But at the end of the day, the complexity, how long these things take. You have people who I read reports and I've had conversations where people told me when this initially happened, man, this might take 1.5 years, 2 years. So I think the fact that it's been this quick, I think it's somewhere like 150, 160 days, I think speaks to how serious people took this. And I think it also speaks, unfortunately, to the strategy of Putin and the Russian oligarchs. I think that Brittney Griner was taken for the specific reason to try to force some sort of prisoner exchange. I want to say initially, like as soon as she was taken, there was reported of back channels that, yo, this is who we want. We'll make this happen quickly. As is my understanding and the things that I've been told, is that the administration was very sincere about wanting. There's another, and his name escapes me in this exact moment. I should have it on hand. There's another person. There's a male who's actually, I want to say, a Canadian originally, who has also been in Russia for a couple of years. And the goal was to be able to get both of them back. And that is kind of the current offer. And I hope that it's able to go through. I will say that this is far from over. There's a lot of steps that have to go through for Brittney to be able to come home. Paul Whelan's his name. For Brittney to be able to come home, for Brittney and Paul to come home. But I think this is a really big step. I think it's a really good progress. I think that it's very realistic that she's back by the end of the year. I also will say that the fact that a prisoner exchange that an offer has been made does mean that her safety should be more secure. It does mean that there's a potential that more communication from her and her family will start to engage. There's potential that they might be able to get video conference. You might be able to get moved to some sort of third area. In history, you've seen times where hey, if we're going to do these prisoner exchanges, we're going to move both of them to different countries outside of Russia, outside the United States, and allow that to occur. So I think all of those things are on the table. All of those things could be negotiated. But I will say I think this is a great step. But we're not done yet. It will be more work done by a lot of smart people, much smarter than me. Chris kind of alluded to it. I do work in politics. I just do the comms. There are people who are quite literally foreign policy geniuses that can break all of this stuff down far better than me. I just take what they say and kind of regurgitate it to make it a little bit more digestible. But good news. This was good news. This is great news. I think it's a really good progress. And if I'm saying my gut feeling, I think gut feeling, Griner's probably home by Christmas.
No. What do we have to trade with her?
I'm sorry?
What do you mean?
Huh?
What are we gonna give for her? You know what I'm saying?
It's a Russian war criminal. His name is the Merchant of Death.
Yeah, Victor Bout.
Victor Bout. You ever seen
and
Dogs of War?
There's three other guys that they can add to this deal too.
We can't even get half our people out of Kuwait for a gram of weed. I don't know. Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, it's the issue is one of philosophy. The philosophy that is Americana is American exceptionalism, right? And Russia has their own version of it, and oftentimes we will always be on the opposite side because in their worldview, we are what they are supposed to be. And anytime you have that type of adversarial relationship,
wait, what?
Yeah, trust me, Track. Anytime you have that type of adversarial relationship, that's natural. These take time. That's why Paul Whelan's been there for 2.5 years. There's other people who've been there for longer than that.
I ain't gonna say they think they supposed to be us. I don't think that.
Well, then go back and revisit the post World War II, man.
Yeah. All we did was split an island, and they got the north, we got the south.
Well, no, a lot more than that, Track. It's okay though, because this really isn't the forum for that. But this is the forum to move on and talk Draymond Green wanting this 4-year max extension. That is what has been popping off out of the Bay, and funny jokes too, right? Like jokes such as He's willing to go to LeBron. He can't wait to team up with LeBron. I find that really hilarious. But this is really brass tacks. He's set to make 25.8 next season. He's got a player option the season after that for 28.5 million. But to leverage what his maximum earnings can be for his career, he would need to turn down that player option and re-sign at the max, which would be 120% of his current salary, which gives him I think it's 164, almost 165, right? So the idea is 4 years, 160 plus the negotiated incentive perks. Me personally, I give this without hesitation if I'm Joe Lacob and the Golden State Warriors, specifically because it's what Steph Curry wants. Second is you don't win any of these championships without him. And third is I don't believe that you will find a better mentor for your younger players within that system that's already there. So to me, this is a no-brainer on three accounts. So I'm already writing the check, but I can hear everybody's like, "Nah, I ain't paying him that much," and I just don't understand why. I know Da gave his sentiments, and it's like mine. Like you pay the man, he's earned it. You don't pocket watch, in my opinion. But there are a lot of people who just don't agree with the value of the contract. We'll go ahead and open up with Track. Track, your thoughts on Draymond Green, and is he worth the 4-year max? What would you do? And we'll go from there.
So this is tricky. I just gotta. What is he led in? Well, I understand he's a glue guy. He's quote unquote a defensive anchor when they want to play defense. Statistically, I don't know what he leads in these last 4 to 5 years. He has spurts in some games every now and then that links them to a win. Sometimes it just makes it feel better or look better. Even in his last finals, he had one game, well, 1.5, and that one is when they won, to go home with the ring. I don't know about I see a max, but I don't know about a super max. I don't know. I give him what 3 years, 110.
Wow.
I don't see no 140. I don't see his value right now.
Wow.
In the future, going against Kuminga and him. I don't see that value of do we put ourselves in a deficit when we have upcoming stars on that team right now. I don't see that happening, especially with if Wiseman comes back next year with the production that we think he can have too. That's all the asterisks on if they make this deal.
Man, I'm not gonna lie. I was not expecting that. Look, I have a player rater, right? And it's purely mine, okay? And I don't want to go into everything that I put into it, but he's ranked outside of the top 150 on my player rater in terms of production, right? This is all quantitative stats. But what you can't quantify is the value impact on a team. That's what you get with the eye test. So when I say that this is my player ranking, it's literally statistical production, right? He gave you 7.5 points, 7.5 boards, 7 assists, a steal and a half, and a block per game. If he can maintain that at shooting 52% or 53% and 66 from the line, the value add is the efficiency on offense for everybody else. That's what you're paying for, right? You're paying for him to lift everybody else's game to another level. That's how I view it. And when you look at every championship season that they've had, the overriding factor is Steph makes shots and warps the gravity of the floor, right? Clay makes shots and stretches the defense to near breaking point. And then Draymond ends up being the nail in the coffin because he then gets everybody else involved.
But now it's Poole.
Say what?
But now it's Poole. Poole puts that nail in the coffin now.
Well, Poole's just added offensive firepower. I don't think he puts the nail in the coffin. But that's just me. Because then when you go back on defense, he's still providing that same mechanic in lifting the team's defense to another level where Poole is not a great defender, but you can play Poole because Draymond has Poole in the right position every time, and he generally is there to cover up some mistakes that Poole makes, right? That's an added bonus. Like if Draymond Green was 6'10", 230, we're not having this conversation. It's that he's 6'6" and 230 and has a podcast, I think. But we have a voice who does this professionally. That's Jannelle Moore. We're going to go ahead and listen to her. I urge you all to follow her so you can read her work at the Mercury News. Jannelle, how you doing? Good morning.
I'm doing fine. How are you? Thank you for having me.
I'm doing great. Thanks for popping up here. I wanted to get your thoughts to your team. You followed them forever. Give us the dish.
See, the thing about Draymond and this whole situation is a lot of people are overreacting as far as, his demands and, people thinking that we're going to just trade him or whatever the case may be. But here's the process with the Warriors. Whenever there's contract situations that come up like this, they usually wait maybe a year before the contract expires, before they really do anything. And, I know Draymond has been in the system for 10 years, and they know how they do. He's going to have to wait. Hell, Steph even waited to get his extension. As far as him deserving what he's asking for, I mean, me personally, I'm torn. I'm torn because you cannot deny the value that he brings to that team in terms of defense and playmaking and helping everybody on the defensive end. Now, and on the other hand, you can see how he has declined some. And you can see that decline mostly in his offensive production. As far as me giving him the max, I would say there should be a compromise. Now, Draymond is self-aware enough to know that his max ain't the same as Steph's max, as an example. He's going to probably have to kindly scale down on what he's asking for, knowing that the situation that the Warriors are in and the situation that he's in, he's 30-something. He has injuries, especially playing small ball center. That's where his injuries are, really showing. But, in terms of defense, I mean, you can't really say that he's wrong in demanding what's due to him. Because this season, he was actually having a solid year before he got injured in January. So this is a tough one. And it's also tough because they're thinking about the two timelines. They're trying to be like the Spurs. But as good as, Poole is and Kuminga and the potential of Wiseman, you can't really quantify potential. I mean, you can't really just base stuff on potential.
Yeah, they're not ready.
I see none of them as being like a Kawhi Leonard type. You feel me?
Yeah, no, they're not ready.
They ain't
ready. Poole's the closest to being ready, and Poole's ready to be a second option.
Yeah, Poole is ready to be a second option, and also because he has worked. I
Yep.
have done a story on, Poole's development, and it all started in the G League. You know, he worked for it. And as far as Kuminga goes, he's not quite ready for it. And you can see that in the Summer League. I'll
Yeah.
tell you who's close as being ready is Moody.
Yeah, I like Moody too.
And that's because, Moody has gone to college. And, that says a lot. A lot of these kids, I'm going off on a tangent here. A lot of these kids come straight out of the G League and, or like 1 year in college. That's not really doing anything in terms of developing their skills for the league. Kuminga's a good example of that. He is not ready. But see, what happened was, they let Damian Lee go and, Otto and the likes go in hopes of Kuminga and them being ready. But I don't know about that one.
Yeah, I think they're still a year away. We'll go to BleacherDave, professional Golden State Warriors fan, one of the best out there, and get his thoughts on Draymond Green and the max extension, and what we just talked about. Are the young guns ready? I'll get that poll up in a moment too, and then we'll go to Thrash, and then we got Big Fan Breezy. What's up, Dave? It's good to see you, man. Happy summer.
Thank you, brother. It's good to be here. Appreciate you continue to hold down these spaces so that they're here when these big topics come up. I'm going to step back for a minute and say a couple of things. It's fun to talk about. It don't matter at this point. Everybody's saying what they're supposed to be saying. Draymond is supposed to be saying, I want all the money I can get. For two reasons. He's a highly competitive NBA player. That's how folks are built. Everybody naturally wants all the money, and it also just sets up the negotiating ploy. He's not supposed to say, I don't want all the bag I can get. He's not supposed to do that. Fundamentally, we got another year to wait, right? And so we know the Warriors don't have to make no decisions until really after this upcoming season. And if you read that Athletics article, they can't carry all 4 of these players. I think they projected it would be a $650 million all-in payroll and tax. And we saw Laker before said they weren't going over $400 million. So two things I'll put on that. And I think it might have been in this article, they talked about the salary cap going up. Having a spike around the next CBA, I think, or before the next couple of years from a bunch of global media. But then in the CBA, we've heard Lake Up, who got fined for it. We've heard Cuban. And I suspect we'll see even some of the middle market and smaller market owners want to get rid of the repeater tax or reduce the penalty for signing your own players. Because if you're a slow revenue market, you, of course, want to hold on to the players that you drafted. And right now, the repeater tax is so onerous that unless you got bank like, the Nets or the Lakers or the Warriors or somebody, and you're committed to spending it, you're not going to be able to build a team that's going to be built to last. So that's kind of the context I'm looking at. So I would say, we're thinking about this. Out of them 4 players, Green, Poole, Wiggins, and Clay, which one we don't want? Because the Warriors can't find, based on that total all-in $650 million, the Warriors ain't gonna sign all 4 of them. So really, the question is not to me so much, do I want to give Draymond Green a max? It is, who do I want to give up? If I want to
who is the most expendable?
Yeah, if I want to keep Green, then who tell me who you want to give up? And so I want to see this coming season because I'm not completely sold on Jordan Poole yet. He's not been the focus of an offense. So I think second option might be a realistic ceiling for him. But I want to see him back it up another season and not be the dude when he's on the floor, he dribble on his way to his points. Because that's not the Warriors formula. That's not winning basketball. So I'll answer your question. If 4 for 140 is Draymond's max, even in the context of when I just popped in, everything that you said, what people have been saying, his importance to how the Warriors run their offense, his ability to grab a rebound and push and accelerate the offense. We have seen what a big difference he makes to winning for that team. And it's not about his scoring or only about his defense. It's about his telling everybody what to do and keeping a fire at everybody's feet. He's got a bad back. I don't know if I got to pick somebody to go. Man, I want to get another season for that. But Draymond's has started having disc problems. We've seen lots of players have the greatest players have their careers ended by disc problems. Dumars, Bird,
Pippen.
Pippen, and so that's a concern for me. And so
Tom.
I don't know that 4 years from now that I want to give Dre 4 years, 140.
You guys left out, like, I always thought that he was going to go out like Joakim Noah. And that's my biggest fear for Draymond Green.
That's a good comp.
Like, I mean, when I saw him get hurt in January, I was like, ooh, man, y'all remember when Noah got hurt? and like, then he became a Knick, and it was bad.
So I would just say to Warriors fans, pump your brakes. We got another season with this core together, but also accept the fact this is our last run back, and they're going to have to do something. And maybe the wisest and savviest thing to do is swallow our pride and figure out how to bring KD back, because that helps to solve the salary cap problem.
Ooh, see, that was going to be another question. All right, here's another reason why I say I signed this 4-year 140 max, guys. The TV rights deal is about to be renegotiated, and it's looking at $75 to $80 billion. So if you sign him at 4 and 140, like, you might be saving yourself, extra money, having to then re-sign him on a 1 and 1 with the new CBA, which is going to give him a larger 1-year deal. So to me, you're saving money up front, and that's the better business move. However, Laker did say he's not going over 400 million. Maybe he pushes it to 450. 600 million is insanity. Jannelle, we'll go to you to rebut, and then we'll go to Thrashing the Competition, Big Fan Breezy, then Rico Suave.
Yeah, well, I was just reiterating BleacherDave's point about who is the most expendable. And I think that's what the Warriors front office is betting on. I mean, betting on these guys earning the right to have that money. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, I see what you mean. I don't think they're going to gamble that much, though.
Well, they're willing to gamble for Draymond to test the open market. They're willing to gamble with that. So maybe deep down they think Draymond's a little more expendable, despite all of the wonderful things that he have brought to the organization. You get it?
No,
They could get Ben Simmons and KD.
Yeah.
No, I get it, and I don't think that's going to happen. Go, hop in here, Thrash. What you got?
All right, so what's up, my guy? So this, if the question is this Max is Draymond, aka Mr. Game 7, 35-point triple-double, also known
One
as
time.
Draymond, also known as the guy with the genius to see years ago to call Kevin Durant a female dog to his face on the sideline, so he could
Same man cost him a ring.
So he could let his boy Steph Curry show the world that they could win without him, so that he could show Steph Curry that his loyalty is forever. So when LeBron comes calling in 2021, Steph Curry is still with his lifelong partner to this day. So we're going to go from Draymond to 22 off season. His name is now Paymon Green. Man, if this man is worth 35 mil a season, I don't think that's a question, man. Like, these guys making 50 mil a year. They talking about these extensions, man. Like, what Draymond is getting just like Chris said, man, the cap is going up soon, but it's not about the money. I remember there was a guy, Kobe Bean, who got paid a max deal with no expectations of a championship realistically
That
because he
legacy,
earned that.
that legacy contract. I remember that.
Because he earned that.
Yeah,
Draymond Green is not at the point, utility wise, like let's say if he doesn't get any more major injuries, he's he's less far along in his career than Kobe was at that time. He has more utility as a player to me, um, over these next couple years. But even without that, even if it was for more money, for what he is to that culture, to them four championships, to them being who they are, on and off the court, man, pay that man his money, man.
exactly.
That's all I got to say, man.
All right, I wanna give Bleacher Dave a shout out because there's some people who are just absolutely anti bringing Katie back to the Warriors, but like they're not saying like why your point isn't valid. Is there any other way that you can explain your rationale about bringing Katie back?
Yeah, no, absolutely. So like I'm a lifelong Warriors fan. Been going to games 50 plus years, right? And so my relationship with this team is deep and defining, and been traumatized by 40 years of losing. So I get this stuff. We I don't think very many of us appreciated the way that KD left here, right? So, we feel some kind of way. We got some kind of emotions about it. We love the fact that Steph went out there and did it without him, stuck it in his face and did all that. So it was very vindicating. And frankly, this kind of toxic atmosphere when KD was here last time, even though they were winning, the basketball wasn't beautiful during the regular season. They won. Now, I get all that. When this first came up, I was like, nah, I don't want to see KD back here because the basketball is beautiful again and his whole kind of toxicity, right? Didn't want to see that. Now, okay, that's what my heart, my mind, my emotions say. Now I'm gonna set that aside because what my head say is that the Warriors have a salary cap problem. And I hear what you're saying about and so I was reading that stuff about the cap going. Cap's going to go up one day, sometime down the road. In the meantime, Lacob has already said where he's not going to go with the salary. So we got a choice. Do we want to like work a deal? And I do believe KD's trade value, the Nets putting too much value. They ain't gonna get all that crazy stuff they're asking for it. This gonna come down. A way that the Warriors can solve their salary cap problem is by trading, and I don't know, couldn't tell you, it would depend on exactly which, but by trading some players that's going to have big ass contracts and putting that money into a max deal for KD. And I think that's a way for them to solve this who you going to get rid of, which one of them four players you going to get rid of, by taking two of them and turning them into KD and then going out here and winning a couple more championships. And then that will allow the team to stay together until that salary cap bumps. And then hopefully, Kuminga and Weissman and Moody turns out to be the guys that they're going to be, although one of them, at least, if not two of them, will not be here. But it's just, I think it's just a math problem, I guess is the way I would put it. And if I want to solve a math problem, one of the options is to use KD to help do that. And I'm going to hold my nose and do that because I like going to finals games and I want to see them win some more rings.
All right, there you go. That's a very eloquent position, an argument. If you don't agree, you can vote no, and you can tell us why. Just hop into that chat box down below. Up next, we will go to Jay the Wakandan. Then we got Rico Suave. We've got Jayceon, Track, and JF Draymond Max, our baby Warriors. Are you going to give Draymond that 4-year 140, or you are along the lines of going with the baby Warriors? Jay, what's up, man? Hope you're doing good.
Yeah, man, I'm doing well. Shout out to everybody in the room. Good morning. Um, I think the issue, and a lot of people have said that with Draymond, is not necessarily the money, it's the years. So I think a 2-year deal works because you're going to have to pay Jordan Poole. I'm going to be honest with you. I know that Kuminga didn't have the best summer league, but to me, Kuminga was trying to do way more than the Warriors would ask him to do. Let's say, God forbid, if Draymond got hurt and couldn't start the year, right? And they slotted Kuminga in that place. Because the other thing is mentally, I'm not saying he has the basketball IQ or the instincts of a Draymond. I think that's kind of what makes Draymond like a generational role player. But in the playoffs, Kuminga was furious about not playing, but he was mentally engaged. Every time out, every ball stoppage, he's up dapping teammates. But you could tell like he wanted to be on the floor and he wanted to kind of rip somebody's head off. And I think that the Warriors are going to have to choose between Draymond and Clay if they give Draymond 4 years. And that's the other thing is that I think that Kuminga is closer to replacing Draymond. And you, like I said, I think you're going to lose some of the defense, some of the leadership and all that stuff. But Kuminga is more than capable of giving you 12, 15 a night if you give him 28, 30 minutes a night. Whereas I don't think Moody is as close to replacing Clay. And it's not that Moody can't play. It's not that Moody can't score. But Clay is kind of it is a Fast and Furious reference. Curry is the engine and Dom Toretto's charger. Clay is the nitrous button. And that takes a certain mentality, that takes a certain basketball character, and person, you know what I'm saying? And I don't know, and I don't think Moody's capable of being that quite yet. And so I actually think it's the opposite. I think Kuminga's closer to replacing Draymond because Draymond is Mr. Single Triple, or triple single, than Moody is replacing Clay. Because Poole can't replace Clay because Poole is not interested in playing defense to the level that, Clay is. And so for me with the Warriors, it's not necessarily a math on the money side, it's a math on the year side. So that's where I think they're at. And to be honest with you, my nightmare is that the cap goes up and they figure out a way to manipulate the cap so they can like go get Jokic or something. Because that's what I think they're trying to keep their powder dry for. Is they're waiting for Jokic or a Giannis to get sick of their situation, and then make a move for a player of that ilk. I don't think they're interested in bringing back a 35-year-old, 36-year-old Kevin Durant necessarily. And so that's my thoughts.
All right, cool. All right, let's see. We've got a couple other people. I wanted to get a quick break in here to shout out Jose and Speak On It Rolo, two of the hosts of 77 Spaces. They had a 77 Spaces last night. You know it's the dead middle of the off season when you start getting HBO stand up routines from fans. Rico Suave, 77 Spaces last night was lit. It was hilarious. What did the people miss, and what are your thoughts on Draymond? And then we'll reset the room and shout out to some people down below and continue the conversation. Go ahead, Jose.
Already, good morning, everybody. It's Thursday. Where the energy at? Y'all had y'all coffee? Come on, man. It's Thursday. We almost there. We almost at the weekend. We made it. Shout out to Biz down below listening, who's been a great influence on 77 Spaces, along with Chris as well, and Mind Reese and all the other great math content creators that we associate with. Shout out to y'all and all the Mavs fans that joined us on 77 Spaces last night. I appreciate everybody for coming through. So last night we talked a whole hour about Josh Green, and hopefully what could be a development year, a a leap in a sense, and just seeing if he could become a playoff rotational player. Person said Jonathan Isaac should be on the team. I will walk the fuck out if that happens. But that's just me. And plus, we ain't seen this man play in 3 years. I mean, who the fuck wants that? I apologize for the f bombs, Chris, but yeah, that just irked me and irritated me. But that was what's going on in the show. Chris stopped by as well. He's tuned in and listened. You know, the Shadow GM has to know what the teams around the league are up to, and he has to have the inside scoop. So shout out to Chris for being in the space as well. Um, what I think about Draymond getting the max, it's not my money. Like I said continuously over with Jalen Brunson, it's not my money, and he deserves whatever he's gonna get paid. Uh, I think the Warriors do need to retain him, and you know he's still a defensive leader. He still has a lot of great qualities about him. And what I had seen this past playoff run is just he's a great like he's the heart of their defense. He's the energy. He's everything for the Warriors, and I just think he's deserving of the money. Again, it's not my money, so why should I care? I'm not gonna have a eulogy about it. But shout out to everybody in the room. I appreciate y'all for being here, supporting Hoop Spaces, who is growing into the biggest space about basketball on these Twitter streets. Shout out to everybody. Y'all have a good one.
Hey, I heard Dwight Powell wants a 4-year, $60 million contract extension.
Chris, don't trigger me.
Shout out to everybody down below. Thank you for popping in, making Hoop Spaces part of your day, wherever you are. We're appreciative. There's some great people that do come in here and listen, and we do want to go ahead and shout some of them out. What is up to Courtside Dabble? See you down there, Jay Trent. Mars here, King Rowe, EAB, a whole bunch of other people that have just found us. We appreciate you finding us. Next up, you're going to hear from Big Fan Breezy. He had a phone call he had to drop out for, but he's back now. Draymond Max, baby Warriors. Do you think KD needs to be in Golden State? I know there's a lot, the overwhelming majority of Warriors fans who don't want that to happen, and I can actually understand why. But hey, it's part of the conversation, unfortunately, for them. For us, it makes me laugh, so it's good. Big Fan Breezy, you're up next. Then we'll head over to Jayceon and then Thrash and Track. Appreciate it, everybody. Good morning.
Good morning. Shout out to Chris. Shout out to everybody in the spaces. And just so y'all know, I enjoy listening to the content before I actually speak. Real quick, I seen Chris in the spaces yesterday. I tried to shout him out, but they already knew him. So shout out to Chris. But Draymond Green, I feel like he pushing the envelope. You know what I mean? He got Ari as his agent or something, and he's just trying to get the biggest bag in his career. This is probably going to be the last big bag that he gets. And respectfully, stat wise, doesn't show what he brings to the Warriors. But one stat that was interesting, he was one of the players that assisted on a lot of the 3-pointers for Steph Curry, like the number one guy, which is obvious. But case in point is, he's because Curry play off the ball, so that's how it happens. But he's instrumental to their offense, and I'm pretty sure they could give someone else the assignment. But chemistry wise, you won 4 championships with that 3. I say give him his money. You know what I mean? Stat wise, it don't look like he deserve it, but results are results. And in his 4 championships since he's been on the roster, none before him, respectfully. And I think it's fair. But it brings me to what he said to KD about not needing him. And now the Warriors in a situation where they have to speculate do they need Draymond Green? I think they might take a loss giving him the max, but it's worth it. You know, in business, sometimes you got to give a little to get what you want, and giving him the max is definitely, you know what I mean, favoring Draymond Green. But again, the NBA is also a business, and I think he's pushing the envelope because he knows that he's in the latter part of his career, and this is the last big bag he'll get. And I ain't against him getting no money. You know what I'm saying? If you could get it, then get it. But I'll say this: I don't think it's easy to replace him. I think they could get somebody to do what he did to an extent, but the energy, the defense intensity, and all the intangibles that he brings to the locker room and the basketball court, the Warriors are probably it'll behoove them to keep him opposed to losing him. So yeah, that's what I got.
All right, appreciate it. Next up, we'll go to Jayceon. What's up, man? How you doing?
What's good, brother? Shout out to the host, co-host, speakers, and listeners. Today is Thursday. Thursdays is where I push nasty agendas. I make people upset and I make people block me. And what better conversation to have than the Draymond Green conversation? If you're the Golden State Warriors, you owe Draymond this extension. You owe him the max. However, it comes at a bad time. You've got Clay that'll be due for something in a year or two. Andrew Wiggins, Jordan Poole. There's a lot going on. If you know how organic the Warriors are, though, you know that they can get it back in the draft. You know they can get it back in the G League and things of that nature. You give Draymond this money because if you don't give him this money, this is what he does. He has a whole nother year to play where he's going to turn into a different player. He's going to show you why you should have given him that money. And then Draymond Green is going to go back to Michigan to play with the Detroit Pistons, and they're going to go to the playoffs for the first time when he gets out there. Him, Jaden Ivey, Nerlens Noel, Sadiq Bey, and I haven't even named the two guys that that team is going to look really good. I cannot wait for the Warriors to mess this up because they're gonna screw the pooch royally. This is how they're going to mess it up. They're going to get the wrong player. They're going to give the wrong player the money. You don't want to give Clay the money. He still has a whole revamp that he has to go through, and quite frankly, he doesn't deserve that extension right now. With respect to him, you don't give Jordan Poole this money. You let him go out into fine greener pastures and realize that he should have never left, and that's okay. You give Draymond this money because there are certain things that Draymond does. There are certain intangibles that he has that you just can't coach, and you don't see it in a lot of other players. He makes the pass that leads to the assist. He gets the hit on the ball that leads to the strip or the steal or the rebound or the tip out or whatever the case may be. Like, you can't coach these things. And what he does in the locker room to these with these young players, he gives them the confidence. He gives them the big brother, little brother relationship. Like, this is what you need in that locker room. And as soon as he leaves, he's going to go to Detroit and he's going to take them to the playoffs. That's just how I feel about that. You had another question about something about KD coming back. No, no, that's the answer right there. No, you don't need him. You won without him twice. You won before he got there. You won after he got there. No reason to bring him back. It's just a waste of time. It's a waste of energy. Everybody's gonna make up these stupid NBA trade.com trades to see what's going to happen and trade generators on ESPN. It's dumb. It's a waste of time. You don't need KD. You can win without him. And then the Lakers need more small forwards. I looked at the Lakers roster. I don't know what y'all see. Yeah, it's just not going to happen this year. Darvin Ham, he's a good coach, but yeah, I just don't see it happening. So Lakers will make the playoffs. They'll make the play-in. They'll be the seventh seed, and then they'll get bounced in the first round. And that's okay. Nasty agendas have been pushed. Thank you so much, Chris.
Absolutely. Thank you, Jayceon, for coming through as always. That was good. And you know what? The Lakers do need more small forwards. If you have not seen the roster, I just placed the roster up in the jumbotron. I do not believe they have enough small forwards. Thrash, my G, what's up? We'll go to you. Track real quick, and then we got.
I just wanted to say one more thing, and I'm gonna shut the hell up.
Go ahead,
Liz. I know you're listening to this somewhere. I don't know what you've done to piss off the entire WNBA organization, but please get it together because you still got some good legs on you. You can still play basketball somewhere. And I want to see you reach your full potential. That's all I wanted to say.
I want to
Oh,
see.
I can tell him what Liz did.
No, no.
I know what she did. I'm being funny. I know what she did.
No,
I'm just
no,
being funny. We don't have to do this. We don't have to
Okay.
do this.
Okay.
yeah, we
I'm a
good.
trigger Sparks fan. I'm sorry.
So my message is short. So in the beginning, I'm a sidebar and say, Liz, if you are listening, that thing he said about your legs is definitely true. They are great. DM me, call me. You know what I'm saying? I'm here. So what I will say about Draymond, he said a lot of things, specific technical things, right? So what I'm gonna add to this Paymon conversation, just a little stat that I didn't put in my first message. Um, in 50 games without Klay Thompson in 2022, the Warriors were 37-13. In 36 games without Draymond Green over the last 2 years, the Warriors are 19-17. So that's all I'm gonna say about Paymon Green. And Liz, once again, man, if you're listening,
Gosh,
call me.
you're just bad. You're just bad. Ugh. Thrashing the competition, ladies and gentlemen, pushing the boundaries. As always. Track, what's up?
Man, listen here. We done went all around the world and back again just to hear a bunch of blasphemy. Draymond going to Detroit probably will, but he ain't gonna play. Draymond with the Lakers doesn't make sense. There's a man there that's 6'9", 270 something pounds that does the same exact thing. He's going to be another Tristan Thompson standing in the post somewhere that gets no rebounds. My God, listen. To get a contract extension, you have to update your resume. The name of the game is what have you done for me lately? It doesn't apply in sports. It's what are you going to do for me after this year? After this year, it is what he provide worth 140 mil? Is it worth 120 mil? Is it worth 110 mil? Is it worth 4 years of that? That's why I said, hey, I give him 105, 110, 3 years. I give him a little player option to make him feel like he in control. I give him that. Yeah, I give him that. But he's gonna have to give me more than just 6 assists a year, a couple blocks here and there. You gonna have to put something in his clause about suspensions. Like, I'm taking money if you get suspended because of your mouth and how you move on the court. And I love the Warriors. You know what I'm saying? I'm not a Warrior stan, but I love watching them play. I love how they mix Pop system with Phil Jackson's system. I love how they move the ball across the court. But let's be real. Before it was Draymond, it was Iggy. That's Iggy's game. He started it. He made it look good. Then Dre took it over and kept it going because he was next man up. That's why I'm telling you now, that's going to be Kuminga's role. That's how he's going to play defensively. With a little tiny better score, probably be like a eight guy, probably 8 rebounds, a couple more assists because he's a lot more athletic. He's not as broad, but you know, who in the NBA is broad now? Is KD coming back? I want KD to go to Blazers, but it's a good chance he may go back to the Warriors. It's a good they already looking at it. Joe Lakem's looking at it. They always want to be ahead of the curve, ahead of everybody else. I don't know, man.
I'm not going.
I don't see I
That
don't see Draymond getting that money.
your KD to the Blazers is wild.
I would love to see it. I would love to see it.
It's so random.
Love to see it.
All right, like Portland. That would be hilarious.
He said Paymon to Portland.
No,
With
he
it.
said KD to Portland. Like
I
I'm in
would say KD too.
I'm in tears.
Yeah. I say pay Mun. I say pay Mun. If he enter free agency, he goes to a team that does nothing, and he goes to TNT and get that money because that's what he gonna do.
He is Charles Barkley. To be honest,
Because I'm gonna say this. I'm gonna say this, and it's gonna be controversial, just like Jayceon, and I might get blocked by a couple of people, but I don't know you, and I don't care. Draymond Green without the Warriors is Russell Westbrook without Katie and Harden. Just there.
all right.
That's jealous of himself.
We gonna go to somebody who's definitely gonna put some Draymond slander out there. That is the president of the Draymond slander fan club on Twitter. That's JF Cake. JF, I can only assume you're gonna say hell no to paying Draymond 4 years, 140 million. Go ahead, the floor is yours.
Chris, you're gonna have to give me like 2 minutes, and I'll come right back.
You see, like, man, just
Well, we could fill that in with Portland makes up for their mistake in drafting the generational prospect Greg Oden and doubles back and picks up the #1 player in that draft, Kevin Durant, and embrace the grind, baby.
you you have good dreams at night. I hope that you still have those. Like, it's important to be able to dream good dreams. Like, it's important for your mental health, people. Like, if you're going to bed and you're waking up and you don't remember a positive dream, like, no lie, that's not good. I'm happy for you, Thrash. Like, I'm kind of jealous, man, because like when I go to bed, like I have nightmares, right? Like, people are trying to throw cereal at me. Like, I don't get this.
So Chris, positive thinking brings you the #1 player in the draft and a replacement for CJ for nothing. It's amazing. And our trade target.
You know, the moment that marijuana became legal in the majority of states, well, takes and just have gone through the roof, ladies and gentlemen. JF, like, that's 93 seconds. Do you want us to continue to carry? Like,
Nah, we can go ahead with Chris. All right, first of all, we in a recession. We talking about Draymond getting paid. Like, come on, let's stop wasting money around here. Second of all, every time I hear Draymond in this next contract extension, I just think of Chris Rock's dad and everybody hate Chris about how that's such a waste of money. Like, Chris, there's a lot of people deserving of that money, especially you. I hope you go ahead and get signed up for something. I know Kings ain't doing you justice, but yeah, Draymond does not deserve that money, Chris. Appreciate you.
Yo, all right, there you go. Anti-Draymond sentiment established. If you are about that life, go ahead and shoot him a follow. Personally, like I said, I give it to him. And to me, it's not that difficult of a question. If the owners are interested on continuing to win, if they actually do want to try and by the way, that is how fortuitous the Spurs were, right? Like, let's not mistake what happened with San Antonio. They got lucky that David Robinson was injured. They got lucky to get Tim Duncan. And they got lucky to be able to go and continue that type of competitiveness with Tim Duncan.
I don't like the disrespect you giving my Spurs, but this lucky.
It is absolutely not disrespect. It's the truth. They didn't even have the odds in the lotto to win.
So he said it wasn't lucky to get Tim Duncan?
No, it was lucky.
No, I'm not talking about you, Chris. He said it wasn't luck.
It's not luck. It's called fate.
Oh, geez. All right. My son and I had an interesting conversation about what fate is, and like, he is a extremely intelligent individual, and he had simply said, fate eliminates the ability of God to exist, because God is a singular entity, and fate is the predestination. But if God is God, then God can change predestination. Ergo, fate and belief in fate is actually against monotheistic religions. So
God only sent one person to play basketball, and that was Jordan.
Fate is God with no arms, and Track is trying to commit armed robbery right now with no arms.
There you
It's
go.
not working, bro.
Jada Wakandan hop in here. I just wanted to share that tidbit. It was an interesting conversation. Yeah.
Well, I disagree with that because that assumes that fate is this thing with sentience, and I disagree with the concept of fate being sentient. But anyway, uh, um,
But in
so
this
back to
thing, it's sentient. It's fate.
no, fate is not sentient. Like when in Western philosophy, fate is not this sentient thing.
Well, I know
Um,
the argument of saying Tim Duncan going to the Spurs is fate. You're giving fate sentience.
oh yeah, in that
Uh,
case, yeah. No, it wasn't fated. No. Um, here's the thing with the thing I want to throw out is it was a question. Let's say Draymond's a free agent. Does he really go back to Detroit or
no.
does he go to Cleveland with LeBron James?
Oh, stop it.
What?
No,
Did
Cleveland.
he
No,
take Cleveland?
LeBron's going back to Cleveland.
Ugh.
If he doesn't sign an extension by Labor Day, he's going to Cleveland.
Okay.
Chris, are you
The-
gonna let
All
the East
right,
blast if they keep going?
I mean, to one, I don't think Draymond's going to Detroit. Like, what is the value of Draymond Green going to Detroit?
because it's home, and there might be a wink deal where he gets like 5% of the franchise if he
He ain't
comes,
getting no
something
money
like
for
that.
it.
And it wouldn't be able to do that. That would be illegal.
You ever heard Joe
That's why
Smith?
it's wink. Yeah, that's why it's wink.
He'll go to
All right,
Sacramento when he close to
mess
LA so he
around.
can be on live and TNT.
So you're
Um,
saying Draymond's gonna be an Atlanta Hawk so he can just drive to the
yeah,
studio?
TNT.
That's hilarious. I want to see it though. I ain't gonna cap.
that would be good.
I
Um,
would
Draymond
love
Green's
to
gonna
see.
be a
I would
thing
love
on
to see
charge.
Draymond berate Trae Young and tell him he's not Steph Curry for 30 minutes a game.
yeah, Danny is reminding everybody he's from Saginaw, not from Detroit. But unfortunately, nobody knows where Saginaw is unless you have family from the Michigan. I know where it is. I've got family from Detroit,
He
and
might well be from Dearborn.
he ain't from Dearborn. Just like Kuz is from Flint. Explains a lot if you think about it. All right, the Lakers are next, ladies and gentlemen, and I believe that the Lakers, indeed, they need more small forwards. If you look up top, I'll move it up to the front. There is a tweet. Jay the Wakandan tech support is our resident Memphian Grizzly and Laker fan, and he's going to wax poetically on why the Lakers are primed to return to the playoffs in dominant fashion. The list of the amount of wings that they have in this brand new wing league. Jay, what kind of tech support? The floor is yours.
Thank you. I don't believe anything that you just said. For the record, I think this is the quite human overreaction, overcorrection to the problem they had last year, right? And so they decide to overcorrect. This is a roster where it could be greater than the sum of its parts. Um, my question would be, how does this new look Laker team play with pace? Because most of the time they're going to walk the ball up because LeBron is in year 20. And so my question is, are you going to put Russ as the sixth man? Are you going to start Russ? Then he's the first sub. And so when Russ is not on the floor offensively, are you going to play Bron at the one, two wings, Anthony Davis, who wants to be a third wing instead of a big man, and then Thomas Bryant at the five or the other guy they got at five? So it's an overcorrection to the deficit of the roster last year, which is understandable. But I don't look at the glut of small forwards and see a guy that can give them 20 points at a regular fashion. Now it's the NBA. Tony Delk went for 50. Corey Brewer went for 50. So, you know, LeBron is a great passer. And I would like to see how this team revolves around a more and more stationary LeBron. And that's the thing I couldn't get Laker fans to understand in a recent space was that LeBron's drives are becoming less and less per game, combined with the fact that he hasn't played 75 games since he put on a gold jersey, is that the idea that you need to build an offense where LeBron is going to drive and kick is no longer the LeBron James of 2022-23. This LeBron is an outside threat who's going to pick you apart. He's going to pass, then he's going to slowly bulldoze his man into the paint. Then he gets the ball back in the mid to low post or the elbow, and then he kind of dissects the defense from there, or he kind of drop steps his way to the rim because his shots at the rim haven't declined that much. And for people who are saying, well, he doesn't drive because he doesn't get foul calls. That's not true. He's never gotten foul calls the way he should have gotten foul calls, because at his peak, he would have been getting 25, 30 free throws a game. So it's not that he doesn't drive to the hole because he's not getting the whistle. He physically cannot put his foot in the ground and get to the rim at will anymore. And he's changed his game. He's become a more lethal shooter. But if everybody's healthy, there are like 6 teams that are better than the Lakers. And the Suns are better. Like the Warriors are better. The Nuggets are better. The Clippers are better. You know, if you want to talk about, Memphis is better. Quietly, if Zion is healthy and goes back to putting up 25, 6, and 6, the Pelicans are better. And so I think that unless Anthony Davis decides to be a top 5 player in the league, this team would be blessed to get out the play-in. And I think that frustration is going to lead LeBron to sign with Cleveland. I think he's gone, because he knows that he's going to be remembered. If he ends with LA, he's going to be remembered as basically a failure, because nobody likes the bubble ring, because all the players say it's the hardest thing they ever done. So all the fans naturally say it's the easiest chip ever won. So he's going to go back to Cleveland. And he's going to make another finals appearance with either that young core or whatever he talks Kobe Altman into trading that young core for. And that's what I think is going to happen.
All right, so I put a poll up there, and before we move on to the next person for their thoughts, Jay, top 6 seed, play-in destined, or Cancun bound?
Play-in, because there are going to be more teams that are going to get to the All-Star break and realize they ain't got it, and they're going to tank for King Victor. My conspiracy theory is that Chet, Giddey, and SGA are going to be too good, and Presti's going to trade SGA. And it's going to be a league shifting move.
Oh my gosh, you're way from the twilight zone of NBA Twitter, man. That's
I know, but it's fun in the off season. I'm gonna mute them when the season starts. But
this is how you know you're in the middle of summer.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Next, you're gonna hear Drew Holiday and Bobby Portis will be on their way for Russell Westbrook, because the Milwaukee Bucks want extra rim pressure.
No, that's never happening, but that's funny. I enjoyed that one.
Crazy stat, right? Crazy stat. Shout out to Greg Sylvander of 5 Reasons Sports. He found this. Russell Westbrook missed the most layups last season. Oh man, poor Russ. All right, Track, your thoughts. We got Bleacher Dave. I want his thoughts on the Lakers. I actually think that if AD is healthy, and from the videos I've seen, he seems to be healthy, that there is actually a valid discussion for a top 6 seed in the West for the Lakers. We'll go to track. We'll see if BleacherDave is available, and I see my man JQ Jeff Quinn popping up here, and we'll get some Lakers talk from him. Go ahead, track.
Yes, sir. First of all, first and foremost, I want to say I'm the biggest LeBron hater you will ever find. Looking at this small forwards list, probably 75% of this list not even small forwards, and it's probably like 12 small forwards truly in the NBA right now. Do they need more? they need like 2 real ones and put everybody else at their right position. They have to play small forward because LeBron plays point guard, so I don't know. I don't know how that works. Do they make the playoffs? No. Do we go back to Cleveland? No. Now where you want to know where he does go? 76ers. Yeah.
LeBron's not going to Philly, man.
Yeah, he's
Those
going to
fans,
Philly.
those fans will eat him alive. There's no way.
They want to win. They haven't seen a win in a long time.
Well, he wouldn't go because he wouldn't go. Like
he'll go. So this is the thing. Y'all saying he wouldn't go. You're right. He wouldn't go. He'll find some little team that has one good player and has a good trade assets. He's going to go there and trade half the roster for what he wants, and they're going to play there.
Oh.
We've seen this rodeo before. Yeah, no, they're not going to make it, and he's going to leave. If Westbrook stays, they definitely don't go. Anthony Davis is a shell of himself for his first 2 years in the league. He's getting hurt again. What you did leave off a team, and that's the Timberwolves. The Timberwolves will be significantly better next year coming up. I don't know why you didn't say them.
Well, because what scares me about the Timberwolves is they're super thin. Now, their top 3 is better. But the Timberwolves that we saw last year are not going to be the Timberwolves we see this year.
The issue is I didn't leave out the Timberwolves because we're not talking about the Timberwolves. Like we talk about the Lakers. Like that's why.
But we also talked about how many teams were better than the Lakers. They're one of them.
I'm just asking if they're gonna make a top 6 seed. It doesn't matter.
No.
Yeah.
No.
There you go. And it's either playoff bound or Cancun bound. Like that's it.
I don't even think they going to Cancun.
Oh.
They going home, and then they gonna go to the trade request.
Being anti. Let me get BleacherDave in here so I can end some of this LeBron hate. BleacherDave, thoughts on the Lakers, and we're gonna go to Jeff Quinn after you.
Nah, you got me wrong. You think I'm a LeBron hater? I think LeBron is second.
Talk about track over there just hating the hate.
I think LeBron is the second greatest player after Kareem, right?
I got him 3.
I'm a Laker hater, right? And so anytime the Lakers is losing, I'm overjoyed. Lakers been beating the Warriors' ass for 50 years. If they losing, I'm thrilled. I think the rest of the conference is going to be a lot stronger, and I don't necessarily think the Lakers are going to be able to put together a team that's going to be able to have the depth and the cohesion to be able to compete with that. I think they are bound for a playing game because fundamentally, when has AD not been hurt since his first couple years in the league? He's going to trip over his shadow and be out for 3 weeks, and then he's going to trip over the end line and be out for a month. I just don't think that team has enough depth in defense and cohesion to be able to compete with some of the best teams in the conference. So I think they're slated for play-in, and you're right, it ain't gonna be Cancun. They'd be lucky if they can make it to Cabo.
Oh, jeez. Where's Lakers guru when you need him? Jeff Quinn. I know you have some interesting thoughts as a Laker fan. Most Lakers fans aren't as objective as you. Appreciate your objectivity. What do you got for us?
So I really I like looking at things really from like a strategy and schematic way, and I kind of got to go deeper. Besides, they won't miss it. I'm sorry, they will be in the play-in. But the reason why I'm just so down bad is because Russ, the way like the top 7 teams in the West, the way you have to play defense on them, and the way that they can execute their offense because of how all the pieces fit.
just is going to make it make life much easier for them. With Russ there, it's just not going to happen. Teams are going to go under every pick and roll. Teams are going to just camp a guy down there. They're going to treat him like Draymond, and it's going to be the same problem that we saw last year. I don't think Russ really cares as much about his game to change, because I think he just is worried about his status. I see this team kind of us repeating the same narratives and titles we had last year. We're going to be like, well, what's wrong with Russ's role? What's wrong with LeBron? What's wrong with AD? Like, it's just going to be a repeat. And the only small, halfway bright thing might be LeBron breaking the scoring record, but that's going to be sad because they're going to be a playing team. And even then, I don't think the front office wants to trade those 2 first-round picks for Buddy Hield and Turner. I don't even know if I want to do that. Schroeder. So, my idea was, okay, you trade those 2 first, get those 2 guys, and then you go sign Dennis Schroeder. I feel a little bit better about that team, but damn, that means I have no tradable first until 2030. Shit.
Yeah. That's what I'm saying. There's no move out there to make this a championship team. So why trade the first round picks so you don't control your first round pick till the John Morant Jr. draft?
Yeah, because you still have picks, but it's you can't make any move with a pick to get better. You're stuck. Whoever you draft in 2024, 25, 26, 28 has to be pretty fucking good until 2030. And that's just sad. A sad place to be. Now, obviously, I would say fuck them picks if we could get Kyrie, but I don't think the Nets are trading KD. So he's probably going to still be in Brooklyn. And I'm kind of the more I think about it, the more I kind of feel like trading LeBron is a smart move, but Jeannie's not going to do that because ticket money. And LeBron, breaking Kareem's record in a Lakers jersey is just something she wants to cash in on. But if she was smart, she should do that. And I would send him to Cleveland, send him to Golden State. I don't care, wherever. Just start over because, I really don't want to see this shit again. Russ smoking layups, bricks, and just fake comebacks, and then getting blown out again. That shit is rough.
Man, I love it because what's funny? Jay's been saying this for months, and
Jeff, I just followed you just because you said that.
To me,
it's me and you, Jeff, against the world.
This is down. You aren't finding a team down worse right now if you saying trade LeBron.
It makes fucking sense, bro. Fuck. LeBron will at least put it a contender would want this dude. A bunch of people complain about LeBron or criticize him. Fuck, if you put him on a contender like Cleveland, Philly, Golden State, bro, they're probably gonna fucking be in the championships. He's that good, and he's your best trade asset. You can get at least 1 or 2 first, maybe a young player. I don't fuck. Just get something so you have draft capital to start over. Unless someone wants to bite on the AD trade or whatever.
Man, I feel you.
Phil Jackson had a point now. Phil Jackson had a point. Trade LeBron.
Phil
for the future.
Phil Jackson's part of the reason why the Lakers are in the position they're in.
He just got there.
And I don't say this to diss LeBron, but it's the smart thing to do, right? He's a lot of teams will probably give you something nice for him. Teams are more. As crazy as it sounds, teams are more down on AD than they're on LeBron, and that's weird, but it is what it is, right?
Well, no.
For the most part, LeBron will be there 60, 80.
KD and Brooklyn is struggling to get an offer they want.
Brooklyn's trying to trade the whole kitchen sink, bro. They're not doing realistic things.
Don't worry about the kitchen sink. Just pay attention to KD. If KD is getting Jaylen Brown a second player and a first, LeBron ain't getting that much more.
Yeah, but you only need draft picks. If someone can give you 2 firsts for LeBron, I'd say that's a win.
I wouldn't even take 2 firsts. I would take a first and a Jaylen Brown type player. What are we doing? Brooklyn.
What are we doing? That's a good question, Jay. What are we doing? Because
I'll trade him for Bradley Beal and somebody else.
This is nuts.
All right, Chris. as a Laker fan for going on like 25, 30 years, it's championship or bust. This team isn't winning a championship. It needs to be torn down to the studs again, because Bron is leaving for free. AD has an opt out. He can leave after this year for free. And I think there's a high possibility that both are going to leave for free, and Russ is expiring. So yeah, you're going into a summer where the CBA is going to get renegotiated. You're going to have $150-170 million worth of cap. Fantastic. But who's in the free agent class? I'll wait. So yeah, no, if a team like Atlanta or a team like Charlotte or a team like the Knicks, the Wizards, are willing to give me draft capital for LeBron James in year 20, because I'm not winning a championship anyway.
Add
Unless
Russell Westbrook to it too.
Oh no, I'm not trading Russell Westbrook.
You can't trade Russ.
Yeah, I'm not
What?
trading Russ because
Oh,
he's
he's
an expiring. No, he's an expiring. You keep Russ. You know, I wanted the Lakers to trade LeBron in a 3-way to get John Wall's expiring contract and just be clear of cap with some picks. Like, but that's like, trade him to Cleveland. You're not getting Evan Mobley out of him. You're not getting Garland, but you might be able to get, Karis LeVert and Kevin Love. You know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah. Like I'm saying, get like 2 picks: Karis LeVert, Kevin Love.
Throw in
Maybe
Sex.
what's his name? What's the white dude's name? I forget his name. He's like finished or something.
Sign and trade Sexton. We'll throw in AD and like call it a day. But no, this needs to be burnt down. But for off the court reasons, it won't be. And instead of being in the dark for 3 years, the Lakers are probably going to be in the dark for 5 years. So I hope the photo ops and the LeBron breaking Kareem's record in jersey, I hope the money's worth it, because that's the only thing that's going to keep this team warm at night for the next 3 years. It's over.
Knowing that he's the top 3 greatest player ever, because he's 3rd on my list. He's just gonna break the record and go on in the sunset, man. They should have traded him last year.
This is nasty behavior. I heard.
Should have got rid of him.
I was today.
It's not even hate, bro. It's just being smart about the situation.
I'm not. I'm not saying anything other than like LeVert and Love in the first. Blows my mind.
Chris, look at his track record, bro. He goes to a team, he assembles it, they win 1 to 2 rings. He leaves without disbanding it, and now you're there with no assets.
But that's the thing. He doesn't have that ability any longer. Like,
he just did it with the Lakers.
If you do this, like, the Lakers aren't going to they're going to be stuck in purgatory. Like the way Dallas was prior to getting Luka. Like, it's just not what you're wanting.
You know what? I'm finna throw a name out there. There's a guy that was on the Lakers that I saw up and down the timeline that people criticized, and they traded him. And he went to the Wizards and put up astronomical numbers. That Wizard team next year will be great. And y'all hated that boy. Everybody that LeBron got rid of has been balling. That's a sign. It's over with.
I mean, that's really a sign of poor mismanagement and development. But I digress. The beautiful struggles in the building. We're going to give him the floor. Thoughts on this Laker down bad fandom? Like, it's blowing my mind, man.
Oh yeah, and everybody LeBron has traded got a ring now.
Hey, what's up, Chris? Yeah, man. I could see probably anywhere from 6 to 8. I mean, looking at the West, the Jazz are probably the only team that are going to fall down. Of course, being that they traded Rudy Gobert, and they're probably going to be looking to trade Donovan Mitchell. So the Clippers obviously are going to get better with all that wing depth, because it's all about wing depth in the playoffs and the versatility. So they are a serious threat to win the championship this upcoming season, in my opinion. The Lakers, yeah, man. They're in a tough situation. I wouldn't personally, looking at Turner's injury history along with AD's, like, if he goes down, then you're putting all that load on Turner and vice versa. and you're trading 2 first rounds for Buddy Hield, who, you know, his shot from 3-point land went down for a few years and has decreased. And we got Monk, of course, in the vet minimum, who outperformed him, and he was playing for a bad team. He's been in the trade market ever since he's been a King. So the only way he was able to get moved is attaching him to Tyrese Halliburton. That was the only reason why he got traded, because no team wanted him. So you're giving up 2 first rounds for guys who are not really that valued, and the guy that played at least 40 plus games for the last 2 seasons in Turner. So I'm not doing that trade. But the problem is, and the key date is for LeBron's extension, which is about August 4th. So the Lakers are in a tough situation. They're either going to give up more to get a little better. I mean, does that trade put us over the top? In my mind, it doesn't. Perhaps probably 6th seed, but it's going to be tough because the Pelicans are going to get better.
It's a 2-year window to be 5th or 6th seed, and for your last 2 first of the decade, that's high, man.
We only got 2nd round picks up to 2025, I believe, and then pick swaps if depending on how we finish with that the Pelicans could choose to obtain or not. So it's a tough situation. But trading AD or LeBron, like optics wise, I don't think they're gonna, like, as one of the brothers mentioned, I don't think they're gonna do that optics wise. Even though that probably would be the smart thing to do, but they're in a tough situation, and I think LeBron probably will end up leaving after this year, because if he doesn't sign that extension, the thing I think he's gonna do, Chris, is probably do a 1+1. He usually does that, like, to hold teams' feet to the fire. Basically, being able to opt out after the first year. If we can't get Kyrie, though, that's the only thing I'm doing for those 2 first round picks. But they're asking for a major haul with Gobert being got for like 4 first round picks or whatever. Like, they're asking to the market's going to dictate the price. They're not going to get 6 or 8 first rounders for Kevin Durant. So as time goes on, I would say things are going to happen probably by training camp. So I don't think they're going to go into the season with KD and Kyrie. Like, one of them is going to have to go, or both of them is going to have to go with all the stuff that's going down. I can't see the Nets doing that at all. Same thing with Utah, with the new head coaches being young and stuff like that. I can't see that happening either. So I think by training camp in a month and a half or so, we'll probably have all the answers. But yeah, Lakers are not gonna. I don't think they're gonna be for sure in the playoffs. Probably from 6 to 8, in my opinion, depending on what they do. But if they keep the same roster, yeah, we're looking at probably the same situation. We'll see how it goes.
All right. I'm depressed now. Like, I'm not even a Lakers fan, and y'all out here just sounding like the Lakers are already 1 foot in the grave.
Because they are.
That was 1 foot in the grave 2 years ago.
I mean, people who are holding out hope for the Lakers are Russ fans, and they I don't even hate Russ. I don't, but his game just causes so many problems for the Lakers that it's going to be bad.
Well, if you want bad, ladies and gentlemen, you came to the right place. Let me give you some stats here. The Lakers finished 11th with 33 and 49. Here are your expected returning teams to the top 6. Phoenix Suns, Memphis Grizzlies, Golden State Warriors, Dallas Mavericks, and the Denver Nuggets. The Utah Jazz are, having their own issues, so a lot of people are starting to think they're going to fall down. So you have one spot for the Timberwolves, Pelicans, and Clippers to fight for, and then you have the Lakers also fighting for that. Yeah, bro, it's rough out here on these Western Conference streets. Let's not discount Portland. Like, I'm not expecting them to turn it around and be a world beater, but they ain't going to be 27-55 next season. Oof.
I think so.
And the Kings are trying to win games too. Like, the West, I'm not saying they will. What I'm saying is they're trying. And I think that's the weird thing about the Western Conference, is that only teams are really trying to lose is like OKC. Everybody
Spurs.
else is. I mean, Spurs. Yeah, I'm not used to the Spurs tanking. This is a weird basketball reality for me. But yeah, so the Thunder and the Spurs, that's it. I think the Rockets are going. I don't think the Rockets are going to win, but they're not trying to tank either.
They're just young.
Yeah, they're just young.
They're going to be the worst defensive team in history.
Yeah. And so the Kings are going to try to win at least for half the year. We'll see what they do around Christmas. So it's a weird time in the league.
Oh, my bad. I thought you were done.
No, go ahead. No, go ahead.
I say the Houston Rockets defense make the Charlotte Hornets look like the '89 Pistons.
Oh, see, the thing is, I think Jabari Smith is going to clean a lot of that up. Now, I don't think he's going to have.
Why are you lying?
You don't think Jabari Smith is going to help them defensively?
How's he going to clean up for everybody?
No. I'm not saying he's going to have a Rudy Gobert impact
I
year
think they
one as
get
a
some
rookie.
hits.
I'm not saying that. I'm saying that Jabari's talents and basketball character, plus Tari Eason, who likes to play defense, is going to instill some sort of defensive strategy and role playing. Like, it is. I'm not saying they're going to be good at it, but what I'm saying is when you watch the Rockets from game 1 and then you watch them like game 25, game 30, what you'll see is they will be cleaner on defense. They will understand rotations better because of Tari Eason and Jabari Smith. That's what I'm saying. I'm not saying it's going to be good. I'm saying you'll start to see a plan.
Trey Burke is their backup point guard, bro. Like, it's over.
Oh, no. Again, I'm not saying it's going to be good. I'm saying that you will see a semblance of a defensive system, a defensive scheme, and when you watch them, you'll see what's supposed to happen.
All right. I understand what you're saying. I just don't see it happening. But we got Hoop Spaces Ryan up here, who I hope is not going to be, the Debbie Downer negative Nancy Lakers fan that all of you seem to be this morning. Like, just shocking that we haven't gotten a positive Lakers spin yet. Ryan, you've heard him. What say you about the Los Angeles Lakers?
First off, good morning, Chris. How you doing?
I'm all right. It's a beautiful day outside.
I've actually got a couple questions for you, Chris, because I know you'll have answers for this. Question number one: how was LeBron last year when he was healthy? Was he doing pretty decent? Was he about to win the scoring title if he was healthy?
Yeah.
Okay, so I just want to make sure on that. Number two, AD was pretty hurt, pretty banged up the last couple of seasons. Were those contact injuries, non-contact injuries? Were those kind of freak things, or was he just, fragile, or did someone run into him and hurt his knee or something? I'm having trouble remembering.
The first injury was a contact. It was like a knee pit, and then he's had a couple of non-contact, and then he had a contact.
So one non-contact, but a couple of weird freak basketball-related injuries, if memory serves correct. Right?
Yeah, I would give you that. Yeah.
All right, and then Lakers won the chip in the bubble, and then the next season, 2 seasons ago, before the injuries happened, they made the playoffs, and AD got hurt in the playoffs against Phoenix right before AD got hurt. Do you remember what the series was at when AD got hurt? I'm having trouble.
I don't, but I want to say it was 2-1.
Oh, the Lakers were up in that series before AD went out, huh?
Yeah, they were up 2-1. I think it was in Game 4 he got hurt.
So it seems that the Lakers with AD and LeBron may actually be pretty decent, and health over the last season and into the playoffs the season prior might have played a factor in the Lakers not playing so well. And then bringing on a poor fitting Russell Westbrook might have played a factor as well. And the fact that the three of them hardly played it all together because of injuries might have played a factor. But AD is still really good at basketball. LeBron James is still really good at basketball. Russell Westbrook is a player.
Still really good at basketball.
And for everybody to just discount these men and say, oh, well, it's over, is just absolutely silly. To say blow up the team and trade everybody, and they've got no chance to do anything because freak accidental injuries, basketball-related injuries, and freak stuff happened, doesn't mean it's going to happen again. Could it happen again? Sure. I don't want to hear anybody in my mentions 4 months from now if, Bron twists an ankle and is out for 2 weeks saying, I've seen it happen again. I don't know what's going to happen. But if people are healthy, the Lakers absolutely have a chance to contend. Bron and AD are formidable. If they are healthy and on the court, they can do amazing things, even with Westbrook, even with his poor fit. If they play together, they could form chemistry. It's not great. It's not the perfect chemistry, but it could work. There is no reason to blow this team up right now. None at all. It's a terrible
Ryan, can
idea.
I ask you a question?
Yes.
Okay. What did you see from Russell Westbrook last year? All the backboard shots, all the shot clock bank shots, he led the league in missed layups, the missed rotations. What do you think changes this year to take the team from play-in to at least middle of the pack?
Russell Westbrook needs less time on the court with LeBron, as the two of them cannot both be primary ball handlers at the same time. So I need Coach Darvingham to come up with some sort of scheme to either put Russ Westbrook running the second unit, or finding a way to have LeBron or Russ play off ball. And more importantly, Russell Westbrook has to learn how to use his high energy for defense, which he did not do last season. If this new coach can find a way to turn Russell Westbrook into a high energy defensive machine, which is possible, I'm not, putting a lot of faith in it, but it's possible, then there could be some success. But more importantly, just give him less minutes. Just give his minutes to running the second unit, and we're in good shape.
So Russell Westbrook to the bench. So, $44 million six man.
$47 million.
47. You heard it here first. They should have. I thought they should have did it. Halfway through the season last year when it was pretty apparent that Russ can't play off ball. Yeah. I do want to say, again, I have this also, this player ranking based upon production only, right? Russell Westbrook is 22nd on this list. He finished the shooting 44% from the floor, 67 from the line, 18.5 points, 7.5 boards, 7 assists and a steal, and 28 double-doubles. Right? He was still effective, except when he had to play next to LeBron and shoot. Just saying. All right. Go ahead.
He can be an effective floor leader on the Lakers. He just, like you just said, when him and LeBron are there, they just both can't manage the team at the same time, and it's just conflicting. So I actually do believe that Russell Westbrook can work on the Lakers, but he has to accept a role running the second unit. It's just not going to work any other way.
Do you feel like Russ will be playing next to THT during this time LeBron's on the floor?
Oh, jeez.
THT also has a tough fit on the Lakers because he's a slasher, and playing next to LeBron, that's difficult. THT needs to be on the second unit with someone like Russ running it, because THT is just not a shooter. He's a slasher. So that's a tough fit for him as well.
Yeah, they're trying to move him. That's just apparent. We got Reese Rebel 31. That's the handle you should follow. That is our friend Nat. She also is the host of So You Think You're a GM. She's also writing up some of the debate topics for Benchwarmers. Your thoughts on this Lakers conundrum? Because as a Celtics fan, I know you're completely thrilled on one hand, but as a fan of basketball, I know you might have a different opinion as well.
Hey, Chris. What's up, everybody? Well, as a Celtics fan, I just don't care that deep about the Lakers. But if you want to talk about just in basketball terms in general, I think sometimes what people fail to realize is, yes, I think that AD and Braun, we can all agree, are very good at basketball. Also is Russell Westbrook. He's very good at basketball. But the last time, those guys were healthy, especially AD and LeBron, it's been a couple seasons. The NBA has gotten a lot better. The West has gotten a lot better. The East has gotten a lot better. A lot of teams are not at a standstill, so I think everybody thinks, oh, as long as they come back, they're championship contenders. And I actually do not think so. I think that other teams have just done so much to really put themselves in a great winning position. I think it'll be difficult for the Lakers, and I see, you see the moves. They went from very old to younger, but is the young talent or the young guys talented enough, to really keep up and help and contribute? And that remains to be seen. And I don't think so. I think that they'll be seventh or eighth seed. They'll be in a play-in team, and it'll be fun. And they have a potential to not make the playoffs in general. I'm in the play-in, so who knows? But it'll be interesting. There's a lot of teams that got better. I want to see how Denver does. I want to see, what the Warriors still look like. They are very good. They just won the championship. They are very good. There are so many teams that have made improvements that to just sit there and look at the Lakers and act like as if they are contenders. I don't think that they are. The Clippers I think that they have stacked their team the absolute best out of everyone. I don't even understand how people just let that happen or let it go over their head what they were doing. They knew their guys were injured. They knew that they weren't coming back last year. So what they did was they said, well, let me get the others together. And then next year, when our two guys are healthy, we're really going to make a push. And my God, they have done a phenomenal job. So I'm just anxious to see what the Clippers look like, what Denver looks like, what how the Warriors come back and compete again to repeat, So I just think that the West has kind of left the Lakers a little bit, and I still think they'll be fun. So I don't know. And Portland, Chris, I don't think Portland will be that good.
Oh, really?
I don't think Portland will be that. I think they'll be okay.
So, man, like we're gonna have to have a Portland space, man. Like I think a lot of
I would
people
love to.
are shorting the Portland Trailblazers. They did a phenomenal job retooling their team. It's a completely different style of team, I think.
No, I think they'll be good. I mean, they'll be okay. They'll be okay, but not competing for what? What are they competing for? They'll
Uh,
just be very good.
well, I think they are definitely a play-in worthy team on how they restructured. The question is will Dame stay healthy?
Right.
That's really the question. He's hitting that time where you're in your career, you get injured a little bit easier, especially if you're a lead guard. That's why I think they're going to try to run him more off ball with Anthony Simons and also start working for the future. I like it. They are going to be a lean and running team, except for Nurkic.
Right.
Everybody else is going to be able to get up and down and run.
I have a question for you, Crystal.
Yeah, what's up?
I think New Orleans is going to be very good as long as Zion comes back. I think they'll be good in general. CJ McCollum gets there. They just get some consistency. You saw how big of a change he made to them. But what do you think with a healthy Zion, New Orleans can do? Because I think that team right there, I don't know, they could be special. So what do you think?
I think a lot has to do with Brandon Ingram and if he's able to stay healthy for the whole season. I like Zion as a talent, but I'm not looking at Zion specifically right now as the guy who's going to give you the bucket in the fourth quarter that you need. He might be able to get you a transition. He might be able to overpower, but I don't necessarily see the person you give the ball to and say, you've got 8 seconds before the clock goes off, and we're going to put you in isolation. I think that's Brandon Ingram, and I think that as long as he's able to stay healthy, I think the Pelicans can be extremely dangerous to everybody in the West. I don't want to say that they are going to be a Memphian leap 50-win team, but it definitely wouldn't be out the question.
I agree. I agree with you about Zion. I think that BI, that's who I was looking at. I think that's your fourth quarter guy. Your closer.
Yep.
I think CJ is going to do a lot better running point this year. I don't know, man. I think they're going to be nice. So that's what I'm saying. There's so many teams, that have done like a lot to get better. Minnesota, everyone wants them to do bad. I don't understand the Minnesota hate. I don't understand the Karl Anthony Towns hate. I really don't get it. It just, I don't know. Maybe it goes over my head, but I like what they've done.
The hair.
Is that what it is?
I just say it, but like, what do you hate about him? I don't know. The hair.
I don't understand it. I don't get it. Like, the dude's very talented, and he's not good at defense. Oh my God! Like we can go through a list of guys that are just not good defensively, but can do other things. So I don't know. I don't get it. But I think that they'll be really good. So, where do you have Minnesota ranking this coming season? If healthy, and if Anthony Edwards has improved his offensive game a little bit, put something else in his bag. And if Rudy Gobert fits nicely with Cat, where do you think that they'll rank in the playoffs? Or do you think they're playing?
Let me give Brandon Ingram another shout out first. This is what he did to Phoenix. 37, 34, 30, 22, and 21 points scored, 9, 3, 5, 5, and 11 assists, 11 rebounds, 7 rebounds, 4, 5, and 5. Um, he has found his game. If he puts on the 10 to 15 pounds that most players do from their 24 to 25th season, watch out. Like, we might not be talking Zion. We might be talking BI. Minnesota, I think, is, I don't like using the term like the fool's gold pick, but that's going to be a heavy favorite. The issue with that they're going to have now is shooting from the backup. Like, they've got no bench. No bench whatsoever that is established, and that's going to be concerning because you're going to have to rely on Austin Rivers. You're going to have to rely on Naz Reid, Jordan McLaughlin. Like, I like him as a heady player, but like, he's not, going to carry the offensive load, and that leaves it pretty much all on Jalen Noel or Noel. I think it's Noel. I like his game, but that's an awful lot to ask to be, basically Jordan Clarkson when you're not Jordan Clarkson yet. So if they're able to address that, I like them as a top 6 team. If not, they are purely going to be starter heavy, and then they'd be susceptible to falling back with an injury. The fit with Gobert and Cat, I think, is interesting. I think a lot of people think it's going to be congested, and I don't really think so. I think you'll see like basically a lot of high-low if you would be running a 1-3-1 style with Gobert closer to the basket and Cat closer to the free throw line. That'll be their base switch positions, right? And that'll allow Rudy Gobert to really emphasize on paint and rim protection, even more so than when he was in Utah, because in Utah, it was designed to funnel towards Gobert. I think being on this team, it goes away from funneling, other than maybe with D'Angelo Russell. So you might funnel with Russell, but if you can imagine Rudy Gobert getting like absolutely open, clean defensive help shots or blocks, I mean, you could see some freaking numbers. Like, seriously, 8-9 blocks in a random game actually might happen. But again, it's going to come down to shooting. I don't think they have enough, so I actually still have them as the top team in the play-in next season.
I love it. I'm not mad at it.
Yeah, I think New Orleans is the one that fills the hole that Utah provides. And to that, Blues here, I want to get him in that, and then I'll come right back to you.
Absolutely.
Blues a Pels fan. I want to make sure he can give Brandon Ingram some love, and we can hear what he thinks coming up for the season. Go ahead, Blue. What's up?
Thanks so much, Chris. Matt, you're spot on. The Pelicans team is one that has shown proof and potential in the last 2 to 3 years. I understand that this is a young team that is coming off of 3 years and 3 different head coaches: Alvin Gentry, Stan Van Gundy, and then ultimately Willie Green, who combined the X's and O's that were necessary in absence of Steph Van Gundy, but also the player development and the player connection. Being a player's coach, former player himself, just brings a lot more camaraderie, a lot more warmth, a lot more, continuity to that locker room. And so, over the past offseason, we saw Brandon Ingram, kind of take that role seriously. He spent his offseason in Phoenix working out, added 15, 20 pounds, came into the season a little chunky in the face, more than we had seen. The gangly, burgeoning superstar, first-time All-Star in the previous season. And so coming into this season, I think he understood that, leadership was going to fall primarily on his shoulders with the absence of Zion Williamson and the sort of transition period that the team is in, getting acclimated to a new coach, the addition of a handful of new pieces, Devontae Graham, Trey Murphy increasing his role Herb Jones's rookie year, Jose Alvarado's rookie year. All of these things happened over the course of a largely transitional period for the franchise, sort of reeling in recovery from that AD trade. So the fact that the marquee story in New Orleans being that number one draft pick, that generational talent in Zion Williamson, uh, in spite of that being the marquee story, all of these things have transpired, have happened, beneath the surface, in his absence. And so, we watched a young team full of potential. There was once Josh Hart, there was once Lonzo Ball. We suffered the Eric Bledsoe era. Just kind of finding their footing, with this, incalculable amount of talent, but really zero experience. And I think that the addition of, really homegrown, down to earth personnel like Willie Green and the coaching staff, NBPA president, somebody with a standard, a decorum set already high in CJ McCollum, and a veteran guard, that adds a ball handler, that adds someone who is an offensive threat that can complement Brandon Ingram and, run the offense effectively. Like, all of these things, happen in a largely transitional vacuum for New Orleans. So, yeah, to see what they were able to accomplish, just getting their feet under themselves, and, what Brandon Ingram, there was a month or so, I feel like it was right after the All-Star game where he averaged like 30 points a game, like in the entire month. I feel like it was like March or May. It could have been May. But yeah, it was early in the year, he averaged about 30 points a month. And I think like we all kind of realized at the same time collectively that, this guy's got to be a 30-point per game player, 27, 25-point per game player, in order for New Orleans to be a competing team. And that doesn't discount, all the other pieces. It's just, he's reached a point in his career where, the team's offensive production is linked to his rhythm, to his production. So I'm excited to see that growth and development. He has brought back the mid-range game in a way, on a big stage that, has kind of that the game is, strayed away from in a lot of the, highlighted areas. So I love that. And yeah, the addition of Zion Williamson really just adds a whole nother like stratosphere of issues for defenses, because now you have these two gravity defining players who have, the ability to put the ball on the floor or, make shots for themselves or their teammates. You've got Trey Murphy, who's still growing, like he's growing still like a teenager. And, he's shown us what he could do in both playoff situations, and surrounded by, talent, of his caliber in like the summer league and things like that. So, there's just a lot of potential. There's a lot of proof in this team. And yeah, you have, Denver, storming back. You have the Clippers, sort of reassembling. You have these powerhouses in the Western Conference that are, going to continue to make noise. But I think we will be fools to write the Pelicans off as another play-in team, just because, it's been almost 2.5 years since we've seen, what Zion Williams can do. And with the addition of what, this team has kind of formed over the last season, I think that's scary hours for everybody in the Western Conference. I appreciate you acknowledging me as a Pels fan, man. That means a lot, especially because I'm born and raised in Dallas, Texas, and I sort of abandoned the Mavericks. And that's a whole nother story. But I'm glad that even in these communities, you know what I'm saying, like, we can represent and, and be recognized for it.
Oh, don't worry.
There's absolutely nothing wrong with abandoning Donald Sterling in a 10-gallon hat.
Come on, man.
See, CJ, that's just not nice, man. It's not nice. Mark Cuban, if you're listening, I am available to be hired to help you with some mass PR. It's rough out here on these streets, and I know you know, because you be sliding into these DMs, man. Why don't you hit me up? I'll help you out. All right. Jay with the off the top of the rope elbow. I want to get back to Nat because she did miss a question that I wanted to hear her thoughts on earlier in the show. Nat, we did talk about Draymond Green with the reports coming out that he wants 4 and 140, and I'm like, cool. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, I'm like, no. I think that a little less for Draymond, maybe 4 at 100, maybe. I don't know, but that seems like a lot. 4 at 140, Chris, for Draymond.
4 for 140.
Nah.
Okay, so let me ask you this. If Al Horford says he wants to stay Celtic, but he wants 3 for 90.
Yeah, I'm taking him to the nearest bus stop. I don't even want to pay him the money he's making now. So he's not getting 3 at 90 from me. Absolutely not.
All right. I'm just asking, like, because that was somebody asked me what an equivalent would be. And I'm like, yo, I mean, really? Honestly, isn't it Al Horford?
See how consistent I am? I don't even want to pay Al Horford. I'm not wasting money. That's too much money for Al Horford.
Jeez.
He can get 3 at 3 for 20.
Wow. Taine, we'll go to you next. Your thoughts on the Lakers, then we'll get Azhar after you. Go ahead, Taine.
What's going on, y'all? How y'all doing today?
We're doing good. How are you?
Man, Lakers, that's my squad, man. But I honestly think, that it boils down to Palinko.
Hello, everybody. How are you?
I honestly think it's boiled down to Palinko and his thought process. I really didn't feel like as a Laker fan, I never felt like Palinka should have had the job. You know what I'm saying? People want to give him credit for the Anthony Davis moves, but Anthony Davis is gonna wind up being a Laker either way, either that following summer anyway. And I mean, after the bubble, it's just that the job he has did, what I'm saying, it's not good. And of course, you got LeBron over and AD who have influence in like player personnel and whatnot. But at the end of the day, man, your job is your job. And I'm pretty sure he thought it was gonna be easy to keep that job and just be like, I'll just let LeBron put the team together. If it failed, blame it on him. But at the end of the day, that's where you come in at, bro. And he's been failing them. I don't know if they're gonna be able to pull off a good winning situation with Westbrook. I don't know if nobody want Westbrook, and when the trade come, I don't even think they're gonna win that trade. So it's right now it's just a sit back and man, hope they can find some memory veterans with a combination of young talent and hope they can develop some chemistry with those guys and see what happens.
All right. Azhar, if you want to come back up, you can come back up. I just moved you from the stage because I muted your mic 3 times, man. Gotta come up with the mute, man. We ain't trying to hear all that. Jay, what's up, man? I see you're a Lakers fan. Let me shoot you a follow. I need more Lakers stuff on my timeline that isn't as depressing as what the Lakers fans have said today. Please tell me you are not coming up here with this depressive energy that's going to make me play Amazing Grace.
No, hold on. What's up, everybody? First of all, I don't tweet as much, so you're not going to see anything. So I guess that's a win. You're not going to see depressing stuff, but
I'm going to give you a point.
No, just really, really quick. Are we evaluating this? And I haven't been. I just joined, so I haven't been listening from the beginning. Are we evaluating this as Russ is staying and the Lakers aren't making other moves?
Correct.
Okay. Well, sorry. Meaning Russ is staying and Russ isn't going to be the centerpiece of a trade, but we could still make other moves. Is that fair?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah. As currently constructed, right? Like you look at this roster and there's a potential that just off of the fact that the Lakers had a terrible season last year. With a more motivated Anthony Davis, obviously LeBron, we never have to question if he's motivated. Not saying we have to do that for AD. And obviously with Russ hoping to come back and have a much better season than last year, there's a chance as currently constructed. I think this team's, without any further changes, this team's going to play much better than it did last year, right? Laker fans a lot of the things, we don't know who to place blame. 1 minute is Pelinka, 1 minute is Vogel, 1 minute is Russell Westbrook, 1 minute it's AD. So for the people who were blaming Vogel, if Darvin Ham is I'm just looking from a coaching standpoint, right? One of my frustrations last year and the last 2 years is I feel like we didn't maximize all the players on our team. More specifically, like in 2021, when we had a lot more depth than we had last year. So I just a baseline level of performance, I just feel like Darvin Ham's going to come in and really motivate these guys to play. From 1 through 15, we're going to play hard. We're going to play really hard every single night, and I think just off that, we're going to get some wins. Right, more wins than last year. Russ, I'm probably one of the few Laker fans that maybe I'm being too optimistic. Like, if the end result is that we keep Russ, I think he's going to play much better. I think him, LeBron, and AD can figure it out to some level of some degree of effectiveness in terms of playing together. But yeah, to answer the question we're playing, like, yeah, we're definitely missing more small forwards, right? Like, one thing that intrigues me is if we do keep Russ, trying to package maybe a THT to the Utah Jazz for a Bogdanovich, or I know we don't consider Buddy Hield a wing, but we're trying to package THT in a pick for Buddy Hield, or trying to package THT in a pick for Gordon, or if we have the assets, maybe try to get 2 of those 3. I think that would work really nicely on this team. Like, ultimately, what this team needs is not only more small forwards, but more small forwards that are going to make them pay on offense and can defend.
All right. They got a lot. And the problem I think also is the depth chart that's listed it's not listed correctly, right? But they've got LeBron, THT, Juan, JTA, Troy Brown, Stanley Johnson, Wayne Gabriel, Max Christie, and Cole Slider. That now Wayne is going to be slotted in power forward behind Anthony Davis. Troy Brown is like THT. They are a 2-3 combo, but everybody else is going to be slotted at the 3, and that's because LeBron is there. When you look at the shooting guard and you start reading these stories and you start hearing like, hey, the Lakers have kind of switched over to internal development, and you start to realize like the Lakers season literally might hinge on the development of Austin Reeves. How does that make you feel? And do you think that internal development, such as an Austin Reeves, or maybe a full training camp Lonnie Walker IV, do you think that is something that people are just discounting, and that they could actually perform more admirably there than, let's say, what Avery Bradley did?
So are we if we're talking about winning a championship, right? Or are we just talking about being better than last year and making the playoffs and giving ourselves a chance, right? Because I think that question is important. As much I've been a Laker fan for a long time, I love, like, everybody's a homer in their own right, and we always want, like, I remember we got Carlos Boozer. I was like, yeah, we're making the playoffs this year. We as fans, we look at our players and we look at it with rose-colored glasses, right?
Let me answer it this way. I am very much of the mind that you need 50 wins, right? That is your goal. Your goal is not to win a championship through the season. It's to get 50 wins. 50 wins puts you in position to win a championship, as you more times than not have home court advantage. So that would mean, are the Lakers able to reverse 17 games this season? That would put them at 50-32, which would put them anywhere between 5 and 7.
I actually like the way you frame that. If we're just looking at it from if you're telling me the number 17, right, and keeping everything the same and relying on internal development, I wouldn't bet on it, but I wouldn't be surprised that having a fresh environment of coaches and having I think Austin Reeves is really good. I don't think he's necessarily a starter yet, but I think he's a really good player, and I think he could slot into the starting role if that was, if that's where we landed. So off that standpoint, I wouldn't be surprised if just keeping things the same, maybe making an extra trade for some more wings, I wouldn't be surprised to get to see 17 more wins. And this is why. think back to last season. How many games did the Lakers blow in the fight? Like, I feel like there's at least 15 games where they blew giant leads, or it was really close in the end and they just fell apart because they had no cohesion all season, right? So I'm not trying to approach this from a homer standpoint. I'm just being realistic. The Lakers were bad last year, but they lost a lot of close games, like a lot of close games. I wouldn't be surprised if it was 25 plus more close games. And, a big chunk of that was without LeBron, and a big chunk of that was without AD. It wouldn't surprise me.
All right. I want to give a shout out to our friend Edwin Garcia. You can catch him over at LakersTakes.com. He was listening earlier, and some of y'all kind of really just got him. All right, and look, the cool thing about Spaces, the platform that you're on, is it allows different thoughts and ideas and opinions to be shared. So I want to thank everybody who's actually come up and done it in such a respectful and cordial manner. That's exactly, and Nat will understand, that's exactly what we wanted, because we believe that people like us, because she came with me, and there's a backstory here, want to talk and actually be heard and be valued, right? So shout out to everybody who's been able to come up here and partake. Jay, shoot us a follow. Always welcome. But I want to get some more voices in here, some poignant points by Jay. And we're going to try to go as fast as we can. We only got about 10 minutes left. Taine, we're going to give you 60 seconds. We'll go to the beautiful struggle for 60, and then we'll introduce a couple new speakers. Thank you, everybody. Good afternoon.
I actually appreciate you, man. I actually just want to ask a question. You know what I'm saying? Hear some voices, hear some feedback on this question. It was 37. It was 37 wins last year, right?
They were 33 and 49.
33 wins, right? And the big chunk of that, like you said, without one of the two, Anthony Davis or LeBron. Do you guys think that that it was more so chemistry, than just bad, individual play? Because you look at Russ' statistics, and I may be wrong, but I think he was 18, 6 and 6 or something like that, right?
It was 18, 7 and 7.
18, 7 and 7, and if you kind of go across the league, that would be a pretty good year for any other point guard. With saying that is, do you think if all three is healthy the majority of the season, do you guys think they're 20 wins plus 21 more wins than 33 next season?
Well, that's why I said 17. 17 gets you to 50, right? If you get to 50, chances are you get home court advantage for at least one playoff round. And then after that, it's going to be up to the basketball gods, attrition, and health. So can they win 17 more games? That's actually the question that I'm asking. So
right.
Yeah. I'm glad that you're asking the same question, because that is what we need to know. We'll go up to the beautiful struggle. As a Lakers fan, he can help answer this question. Are you guys 17 more wins better?
A possibility, but I do want to talk about, I know we're basing this off of keeping Russ, but there are teams rumored. I actually wanted to ask a question because I do think the 50 win total is where we need to be at. So with teams inquiring about Russ, I think the Knicks, the Spurs, they have cap space. Indiana, like I mentioned earlier, that key date to watch out for is August 4th for LeBron's extension, whether it's going to be signed or not. So my question would be to Chris and everybody in the room who's a Laker fan or whoever wants to answer this. Are you giving up those 2 first-round picks for, Buddy Hield or Turner or Bogdanovich, Clarkson, and Conley, I believe, was rumored? Because a team's going to look to take that expiring contract. It's just the market's holding out is going to dictate the price. And that's what the Lakers are doing, what Pelinka's doing. He's not going to just give away 2 picks. So my question would be, are you going to do that? Would you guys do that for the first 2 picks for 2027, 2029? Because I do think Buddy Hield and Turner does improve the team. Bogdanovich, Clarkson, and Conley, I think they improve the team to probably about close to 50 wins as well. So I probably would do that trade, but I wanted to see what the room thinks about that trade and what they would if they would trade those 2 first-round future picks just for a playoff and not necessarily contention, because I don't think those moves put us to title contention, but I do think they put us firmly in the playoff, in my opinion. What do you guys think about that?
I don't do the Jazz trade at all with 2 first-round picks unless they add Jared Vanderbilt. Mike Conley ain't going to give you nothing that you can't get from what you have. And that's more of a detraction. Like, unless he's willing to come off for 18 or 20 minutes a game, you're already getting Mike Conley production with the roster you currently have. Jordan Clarkson would be a boost to scoring, and he actually might start at the 2. He's going to space the floor. Defensively, it is what it is. He's not a net negative, but he's not a net positive. He's just a neutral. That doesn't actually help the aging team, and I don't like that next to a couple of bigs who are not necessarily defensive stalwarts. The Bogdanovich pickup would be huge because that would take pressure off LeBron having to run at the 4. They'd put him at small ball 4 and AD at the 5. But I don't think it's warranted 2 first picks. But if Indy is saying 2 first rounders for Hield and Turner, like, I'm making that deal's already made. Like, I'm packing up boxes. I'm driving the U-Haul myself to make sure everything gets there, because the truth and reality about the NBA is you have to play season to season, and this would infinitely give the Lakers a better chance of winning a championship. Right, you get another shot blocking big who can stretch the floor to team up with AD, and even if you insert, Bryant and Damian Jones in as the starter for like the first 8 minutes, but then you let basically Turner run from the end of the first to the half, like, you're covered in that aspect from AD and Turner for defense, and it's a role that you're going to have to pay Turner. That gets to the other point. They can extend Turner because he will be contract eligible and get the extension done before the trade deadline. And then that would be you saying to future free agents, we have Turner and AD locked up for 3 years. Come here and play, because LeBron ain't leaving California because that's where his kid's life is. LeBron then continues the one-on-one, and then like you ride with what vets you can get. Like, that's just the only way you're going to survive if you're the Lakers, in my opinion. So yeah,
Chris,
you do.
Chris, quick question: if they do that trade, where do you think they land in the West with Buddy Hield and Miles Turner?
Again, like, I think it gets them 50 wins. That's all I care about. Like, if they get 50 wins, top 6 team. If they get 50 wins, they're likely to receive, at the highest seed of 4, at the lowest seed of 6, and that's what that's the best you can do. We'll get everybody's thoughts, go around the room real quick. We'll go to Nat for her instant reaction. Then we'll go to the semi-pro Spades champ, Mike, and then we'll let BleacherDave and Jay come in as well. Nat, what's your initial reaction?
Well, number one, I am in the mind to say keep Russell Westbrook. I don't think that you've seen the best of what he can offer you. I just think you had a bad season last year, but it wasn't just him. The team had a bad season. So, and I actually don't think he had a bad season also. I think it was pretty good. I just think he blew some layups, absolutely. But I think he can play better, because we've all seen it. But Chris, the trade with Indiana, my question is, I know that would put the ball back in LeBron's hand a lot. So who would start at the point guard position, as far as, like, is it Austin Reeves or something, or is it Kendrick Nunn?
None if he's healthy.
Okay.
And I actually do think he's healthy. So I'm
Right.
actually interested to see what he looks like in training camp. But if you do that and LeBron is still your primary ball handler, and you're not happy with with Nunn, believe it or not, you put THT there.
Okay.
He assumes the Ron Harper role from the Bulls and Lakers yesteryear, where he's a defensive minded point guard, and like, you're really only looking for 6 to 8 points from him, but he's going to give you 5 to 7 rebounds. Be Marcus Smart on the defensive end.
Okay. My personal opinion, like for number one right now, would be keep Russ, and those three figure it out. I think that it can be figured out. It's going to take them coming to an understanding, agreement, spending time with each other, and coaching. But you know, I think one of the biggest hiccups, though, Russ needs the ball in his hands. Bron needs the ball in his hands. So who's going to be that guy? And I kind of think that Russ has to be that guy in order to get the best out of him, and he set everybody up. So I don't know, but that's what I would do. That's the first line.
All right. I think a lot of people also don't understand. Like, I think there are more similarities between the makeup of Russell Westbrook and LeBron James than there is between the makeup of LeBron James and Anthony Davis. If you just see how they interact, with their family, not with their crew, but with their family, with the media, it is they are more alike than AD. AD is very different. In the media versus how Russ and LeBron treated. Let's go up to Mike, semi-pro Spades champ. What you got for us, Coach?
Hey, so I'm probably your only Timberwolves fan that comes in here.
Oh
Right?
no, nah. Believe it or not, there's Muhammad, 612. There's a couple others too.
Yeah, but yeah. So the only thing I will say is that I understand that it's hard to fathom this Lakers team not performing well enough to get out of the play-in. But I have to remember, like, the last time that I've seen LeBron and AD healthy together, they were the top team in the West. Yes, they were a lot deeper, but I don't think Russ bothers them enough as far as chemistry when they're healthy to mess that up. I think that they're a better team when they can focus defensively, all of them, instead of just trying to take on the offensive load like LeBron and AD had to do. Similarly, when both of them were out the year before Russ got there, and then what Russ had to do last year with both LeBron and AD out. When all of them can focus defensively, I think that they're going to be a lot better of a team, and that's why I like the coach and how he believes with them, like believes in them, as well as just kind of the team that they put around them. They have a lot of long, lanky wings now. So if one of them goes down, they just pop another one in, and their skill sets are all similar. And they're all defensive type wings. Like, none of them are going to be guys that are going to be featured offensively. So guys like THT should be able to take on that role with the second unit, or none can take that role with the second unit. And then the specialists can come in and do their jobs, like Swider, like Austin Reeves. Like, they can just focus on doing their jobs, playing defense, shooting the ball, which I think is very important for, like, continuity going forward, especially with the injuries that the Lakers have had to deal with the last two seasons.
I like it. Rapid fire. We only got a few minutes left. I want to make sure I get everybody's voice. BleacherDave, 60 seconds. Go ahead.
Russ has got no value anywhere else in the league. The Lakers are stuck with him, like it or not. Darvin Ham has an opportunity to kind of reset the team and pull them together. I don't think the issue is so much of defensive want to, but just defensive ability. You got a bunch of old dudes with old legs, and I just don't think they have capacity to be a very good defensive team. But yeah, Russ is that cat we all love to hate, and I think he'll be better next year.
All right, I'm going to go to Jay from LA. Then we're going to close up with Jay's Wakandan tech support.
Yeah, just so first off, BleacherDave, respect the opinion, but I definitely disagree that Russ has no value, mainly because the other people that we're looking to trade with, they're trying to trade pieces that also have no value. So by that sense, you're trading spare parts for spare parts. In terms of trading the two picks, I think when it comes down to it, the Lakers, if any of the teams are at the negotiating table and they say, hey, we're not doing this deal unless you give us the 2 first-round picks, they're express shipping those picks without hesitation. I just think, from my perspective, if they do decide to trade Russ, I just want it to be a fair deal. I'm sick of playing the Laker tax or watching the Lakers pay the Laker tax.
Yeah, no, like I said, I'm for this deal. That would get if you re-sign Turner, that would give you AD, Turner, and Hield signed for at least 3 years, and that puts the onus on LeBron, and then that gives you 4 out of 5 starting players, and then it becomes much more manageable to bring in vets that still have something because they see at least a year or 2 years of stability, right? I think that's why I would give up the 2 first-round picks. Jay, the Wakandan tech support, you'll get the final word here for us today. What you got?
Absolutely not. The Lakers should not give up picks because giving up picks is how they got here. And trading for AD when they could have got him for free in the summer. So no, I'm all for swallowing your medicine and ripping the Band-Aid off. And so I hear you about building a 50-win team, but the Lakers don't put up banners for 50-win seasons. They don't put up Pacific Division title banners. It's championship or bust, and there's too many things that would have to break favorably for the Lakers for them to bring a championship home. I mean, you're talking about 6 to 7 teams underperforming, and then that doesn't even count the Eastern Conference. And so there isn't a realistic option out there for those 2 picks. So rip the Band-Aid off, see what you can trade, strip it down, see if you can get a 2023, 2024 pick, and then use your cap space like a bank for getting assets going forward with the new CBA and take on bad contracts now. And that's just the bare bones of it, man. Is if it was the Sacramento Kings, if it was the Timberwolves, if it was any other franchise outside of the Celtics, yeah, absolutely. Put up 50 wins, let LeBron have his photo moment. God bless. 50 wins is an achievement, and I'm not knocking it. But as a Laker fan, I don't really care about 50 wins. I don't. It's championship or bust, and this year is looking 80% chance of it being a bust. So strip it down. Trade LeBron, trade AD, get the first round picks, and you use your cap space like a bank. It just is what it is at this point. Because LeBron's not magical. He's a year 20, really, really good NBA player. And it just is what it is, man. Like, that's just where I'm at with it.
Oh man, I feel the pain. I feel the emotional weight of Armageddon that is approaching Laker fandom. Totally get it, man. Like the Nets are here. You got to see Nets Twitter sometime. It's hilarious.
Oh, I do, man. I follow Saint. I follow Jay from BK, Pawthorne. There's a couple of them missing. Lady Zoe wants my fade because I told her 2-3 months ago to brace for the Nets having to blow it up, and she's not thrilled with me at all. So
I wonder if you could have said that in a different way.
Well, I mean,
yeah.
The Nets were going to have to trade. I was saying that she has to prepare for the possibility that they're going to have to trade Kyrie and KD. And she's like, that's never going to happen.
You see,
days later.
This is bad. Like I tell my son this all the time. You cannot say I mean. You can't do it when you get asked a question. You're deflecting. It's obvious. It's okay, man. I got some music for you.
I appreciate that.
Yeah. Ladies and gentlemen, you should shoot a follow to Jay the Wakandan Tech Support. He does deep dives into everybody's team. We've got other content creators down below. I want to shout out Saint from Nets Kingdom. You can catch him over on YouTube with Nets Kingdom AJ, and also here on Spaces. 30 in Dubs, catch him on here on Twitter. He puts out breaking news, monitoring all the sources. Rolo 77 and Rico Suave, 2 of the 3 hosts of 77 Spaces with Jazz. 77 Spaces is the best Mavs coverage you can have here on Twitter. The pickup card game is in the building. Head over to your Google machine and type in pickup card game and Slam Goods, and you'll see a wonderful game that I've actually had the pleasure of playing multiple times and sharing the love of basketball with my son, right? And that's why it was created. Make sure you check that out. Let's see. Hey, if you need some gambling advice or analysis, check out Chase Kitty. He's over there at the Lion's Den, just one of the better podcasts you can listen to. College football futures and stuff. BetMGM is where he's at. Maybe one day I'll be as big as him. He's a good guy. All right. Thank you, everybody, for coming in here. I see you, Coco. I see you, Zach. Dany D, as always, Blake. I appreciate all of you popping in, making this part of your day. As Amazing Grace takes us out, I want people to remember that the NBA is indeed cyclical. Get your jokes in now because they ain't going to be down for long, y'all. I'm telling you now. And when they come back, you ain't going to hear the end of it. So you better get it in now because I don't think the Lakers are down as bad as what people say they are. All right. See you tomorrow. Well, actually, no. Sorry. No, I will not see you tomorrow. And I don't know the next time we will have this. I have to get on the road. I'm going to go support my stepfather. I guess he finishes the last couple of rounds of chemo and radiation. So if you are a praying type, thoughts and prayers are appreciated. But I do look at being back probably by Tuesday morning, 10 a.m. So, shoot a follow if you haven't yet. See you later. Peace out. All right. This show is brought to you by nobody because we're not sponsored. It's crazy. I know. Shout out to audiolabs.io. You can head over to YouTube and find Hoop Spaces by searching hashtag Hoop Spaces. And while you're at it, hit the subscribe button. But audiolabs.io, they're the ones who actually, they repurpose this content and material for us to put it on YouTube. And I will be a featured provider of content for them in the future. So some news that'll be coming out next week. That's positive. I hope you have a great weekend. Check out tonight TJ Kiesel's show, right? It's The Kickback, and it's a good experience for you to pop in. See you later.